All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. It actually happened. UFC 314 main card is just about to start, and I am joined by an old friend, member of the Back Fist Boys, somebody we're always chatting in the back end. I feel like our careers have intertwined throughout the years, and it's such an honor to have him back for what could be basically the biggest card of the year, I think, with some of the biggest implications across all of MMA. I am, of course, talking about the man himself. James Lynch is in the house.
What's up, Dennis? What's up?
What up? It's all happening, man. Dude, thanks so much for joining.
Happy to come on, man. We were kind of talking off air. If this was, a decade ago, we would have been at this event. And, now here we are at home doing these live streams. It's fun. Thanks so much for having me on, man. I'm really, really excited. And I know the viewers are excited too. I put a little community note on my channel and everyone's stoked, man. So appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, dude. And congratulations, by the way, man. You've been crushing it. Obviously one of the hardest guys out there, working always around the clock. So many great interviews, so much great reactions, man. Very cutting edge and ahead of your time. So we're always watching what you're doing, man. And I know you're always helping me sometimes when I F up all the technical stuff too. So I appreciate you, dude. We all appreciate you.
I appreciate it. I feel like you're describing yourself. It's the same sort of thing. And the thing with it, just so people, pull back the curtain a little bit here, Dennis and I have always kind of been, where we do the same thing. We interview a lot of the same fighters, but it's never been like a competition. It's more of like, we're trying to help each other out. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've hit you up being like, how'd you get that fighter, or vice versa. And, for the people out there, we don't get handouts from the UFC when it comes to our interviews. So we have to go the old school route, which is, building good relationships with fighters, managers, all that stuff. So I admire what you do, man, because I don't think people know how tough it is to get interviews now, especially a lot of fighters doing their own YouTube channel, with fighters, doing less media. So the fact that you're still kicking ass is awesome, man. So it's a pleasure to be on here, man. I'm glad we're joining forces like the Avengers coming together here.
That's great. It, man. That's what it feels like, doesn't it? And I love it, man. I love it. By the way, dude, break this down for me as we get ready. It's the big build-up. It's the big build-up video going right now. Where's your excitement at for this card? How do you rate this card compared to, I guess, the cards that we've had over the past year? Is it right up there for you? Like, would you say?
Yeah. This feels like a big card. I feel like we haven't had one of these in a while. And like, even like 311, remember we had the old switch up in the main event. Like, you remember when we used to cover these events, like there was that really big anticipation for an event. When they used to do less events, right? Like, you'd have that, like, man, I can't wait. And there's like a lot of good quality. Like, we've already had some good fights tonight, but just the quality of this card is exactly what we used to have when it comes to the events. And I think the matchmaking's on point here too. I mean, you look at some of the matchups, you got Silva and Bryce Mitchell, like that could go. I know the odds favor Silva, but that's a fight where Bryce could maybe pull off the upset. You got Chandler and Pimblett, Volk and Diego Lopez. Like, that's super intriguing. Is Volk done? I don't know. I'm picking him to win, so that's what I mean. Like, there's so many intriguing fights on here. Even a fight like Krillov and Reyes, like, Reyes has been on the win streak, but Krillov, this is a guy who hasn't lost in a while and who's got the long layoff. So there's just a lot of intrigue on this card. I basically, it's one of those cards, I know it's going to sound like an obvious statement, but like, we're going to learn so much after tonight because there's so many things that I think are still like lingering. We don't know for sure, like, is Paddy the real deal? Maybe we'll find that out tonight. So these cards are what, it's why I'm still doing this, man. Like, we've been doing this for a while. These are the type of cards that really get my blood flowing and get me excited.
110%, man. And just for everybody out there, after some of the big fights, James is going to duck off for a sec. He's doing some reactions on his channel. But if you haven't had a chance, make sure to subscribe to James's channel. There's lots of stuff happening. James, just to break it down for everyone, this is going on your YouTube channel, these reactions. Obviously, they're just going to be like 1-2 minute videos. I usually do this. I figure while we're in between, and obviously I'll be like a minute or two, just taking a quick break. It's only for a couple of the fights, but I get people hitting me up being like, "What'd you think of the fight?" And it's just easier if I have the video out there and being like, "This is my thoughts," and then I throw it back as well. But and then I'll also, just quick reminder, you guys should be watching this post fight show. But if you want to, if you got two monitors, put Dennis's post fight show on and put mine on as well too. I'll be doing a Q&A, answer some questions as well too. But that's youtube.com/Lynch on Sports. That's where you can find. Oh, no way. When is that happening? At the same time?
It's happening at the same time. We're going head to head. This is going to be like WCW and WWF Raw back in the day. We're going to be seeing who's tuning in. So I won't spoil any championship match. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah.
Takes for your own channel, Lynch.
But listen, you got Dan Hooker on your show. I'm riding solo. So listen, honestly, stay on Dennis's channel. It's all good. You can watch the replay of mine tomorrow. It's all good.
Oh no.
Standing directed.
That's what I love about it, man. I know a lot of our friends doing watch-alongs as well, but it's a great time. Go check out a bunch of people's stuff. And make sure you support all. My message to everybody out there is please support independent MMA media, because it's never been more. It's never been harder for independent MMA media. There's all these mainstream social media influencery types that are coming in. They're taking all the opportunities. It's just the fact. Support all the guys that you love. If you get a chance to watch a press conference, watch it like on the Mac Live for MMA Fighting, MMA Junkie, or check out James Lynch's one if he's at a thing. Like, just really support you guys, because you never know, man. A lot of guys are slowly exiting the sport, and I just want to see us all support each other. Quickly, James, I was setting things up, so I kind of missed it. But while we wait, what are our thoughts on the Dan Ige stoppage? I saw Joe Rogan was saying it's one of the worst stoppages ever.
Yeah, it was up there.
Really?
Yeah,
was it that bad?
Woodson was going for the takedown, and then he just kept getting hit in the head, but he wasn't out or anything. And he was taking a few shots. I don't think it's the worst stoppage ever, but I don't think it was a good stoppage. If I'm Sean Woodson, I'd be very upset with that call, especially because I had Woodson up on the cards going into that third round. So, and you look at a guy like Woodson, he's been really chomping at the bit to get in those rankings. This was the fight that was going to get him in there. So a lot of implications here. I think the fact they're so vocal about it on the broadcast will probably be good for Woodson in terms of opportunities beyond this. But yeah, if you get the chance, watch it. I thought it was pretty bad.
They should have. Like, I heard that.
Way too quick.
Short punches, and the referee stepped in, didn't really give a chance to Woodson to do anything. He was just kind of covering up, right?
Yeah. By the way, shout out to my guy in the chat. I like MMA. He's from my Discord. Really good dude. Check him out with a nice Edge photo, winning me over here, Canadian.
I love that, man. Edge recently dropped by Brisbane, I think. And I went in to watch that AEW show where everyone gave him that.
Oh, no way. I've never seen an AEW show. How was it?
Dude, it was very, very interesting. They did a Ring of Honor show as well. And they did an AEW show. And it was just cool to see the guys, Chris Jericho and all those guys, and just be in an AEW. So who knows how long those guys are going to be around for. So
yeah, I was a wrestling fan growing up in the Attitude Era for a couple of years. So I got to go to Survivor Series last year when it was here. And I'd never been to a WWE event ever. And I went to Survivor Series. And here I am at the press conference, and Triple H is like 3 feet away from me. I'm like, the corporation. It's the, the whatever, Triple H, the game and all that stuff. It was, I don't know, it was cool for me, like, to see all that. CM Punk was there. It was a really cool show. So if I ever get the opportunity again, I'll go try my hat at wrestling media. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, man. I reckon it's fun. Me and Casper did one of those Perth events, and the way they do media there is so cool. The WWE, I really love the way
super organized
versus like UFC, where it's like, hey, sorry guys, like no one gets access to anyone, and no one has. I know. Nothing will happen for anyone unless like you've got a billion social media followers and aren't gonna ask any real questions. Otherwise, like, let's all sit in this room with the same content, and you guys will probably all get copyright claims because
that too.
Music in the background, like.
Yeah, no, bring back the solo media days. Bring back it's chaos. Like it was chaotic. Don't get me wrong, the old media day, but I wish we had it. It was so much better.
Good.
The one-on-ones, the fighters sit on the chair. You pick your fighter. Do you stay a couple extra minutes to get that good fighter, or do you get a couple more while they're sitting there by themselves? Like that game, like that, I missed that. That.
Dude, we were all there together, working together, so good.
Who'd you get?
Who'd you get? How do we go? What are we gonna do? Best fight of the prelims so far. Do you have a favorite, James, that stands out?
I missed some of the prelims. So, I really like the Jim Miller and Chase Hooper fight. I thought that was really good for Chase. Didn't get the submission, but Jim Miller not really slowing down. He held his own in that fight. Hooper did end up getting the win, but I was really impressed with what he was able to do there. Got to mention the Olashaychuk knockout. That was pretty awesome just to see him. He's part of the Fighting Nerds now, and we know how great that team is, and they've obviously got a lot of big fights coming up. So, yeah, just those are a couple of the things that I saw. I missed the very first fight. I know that Haley Count. Oh yeah, there you go. Look at this. Are you an honorary member at this point?
Kaya Bahayo.
Yeah,
gave these bad boys to me.
Oh, those are worth gold
after
at
he's
this point,
cheated,
especially in Brazil.
Guess who?
Yeah.
One of the lowest watched MMA things that I've done.
We were talking about the game you played with the fight. See, but you know what, dude? I had the same problem. Remember the video game stuff I used to do? Same thing. People don't like it. Man. I know. I'm trying to bring it back. I might bring it back for International Fight Week because I got a booth at Radio Row. So I'm gonna. Cool, man. Yeah, that's okay. So this is something we probably would talk in our DMs, but I'll say it here. You should, I know it's going to cost you half your mortgage to come out for UFC 317, but the one cool thing they've done over the last couple of years is you can get a booth at Radio Row and they will bring you fighters. And it's super easy because you just sit there and then they keep bringing fighters. And listen, like obviously it's a pecking order. I remember a couple years ago, like Topuria was there, I couldn't get him, but like I got Oliveira 2 years ago, I got Strickland. Like you can get some good fighters while you're there, and it's again the one-on-ones. It's not the same old whatever. But I played like Mortal Kombat with Curtis Blades, which is cool. I played Street Fighter with Yan Shonan, who just lost tonight. Like stuff like that is just, for me as someone who loves the retro gaming, it's a lot of fun.
Dude, I love that. So people are saying Joshua Hooper is legit. That's the big takeaway. I think it's time to give him a tougher matchup. What do you think, James?
I agree. Yeah, he keeps winning these fights.
Five win streak now.
Yeah, I think I'd feel a little bit better if he had finished Miller. I think that's more credit to Miller and just how good he is even at this age in his career. But, he called out Faraz Ziam. I think that fight makes sense. He wants to fight someone younger. I mean, I was even saying just to see where he's at. This might be a bit too much of a step up. But you got that Benoit Saint-Denis, Joel Alvarez fight. The loser of that fight, maybe, I think could make sense for Hooper in the sense of like, how good is he? Because to me, those are the two guys that are kind of hovering around the rankings. And to me, if you're in the rankings, you probably beat one of those guys. So we'll see. That might be too much of a step up, though.
Yeah. You were saying you played with Jan when it came to Street Fighter. What do you think about the person who beat her today? Do you think she gets this title shot after the recent win in Genoa?
Yes, but I wonder what's happening with it really seems like they're going to give Weili Zhang the winner of Valentina Shevchenko and Manon Fiorot, right? Like I know they have that Aaron Blanchfield and Macy Barber fight coming up, but when I asked Dana at the Seattle presser, and granted this was like a month or two ago, he seemed to warm up to the idea of Weili Zhang moving up. Now you could have a vacant title or interim title or whatever, but to answer the question, I'll say yes, because I do think she's there at this point. Like, I don't know who else would be above her, but I just don't know what the who's defending that belt or what's happening with the belt if Weili Zhang moves up. Because my also understanding is the UFC's not letting fighters keep two belts. You have to vacate. That's what happened with Topuria. I think that's what's going to happen with Islam. If he wants to move up, he can't just keep his belt. He has to move up. The days of Conor McGregor are gone in that regard.
Yeah, man, I reckon, that's an interesting one. I feel like Islam has a good case to at least keep his, but I guess we'll see, dude. And that's going to be a big one over down in your neck of the woods. You'll be there covering it, the JDM Bilal fight. You'll be there live.
No, I'm not going. So just to give people a little geography lesson here about Canada. So Montreal is farther away for me than Vegas is. So I'm going to Vegas for 2017. Yeah, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes to Vegas from here in Vancouver, where I live. To go to Montreal is 5 hours on the flight because it's east, right? So Montreal's like Eastern Canada. So yeah, just, you know what? We were talking about it, talking about event coverage and stuff. Like, Montreal's a great card. It's not really the type of card that's worth it for me to, have all the travel expenses. Montreal's not cheap either. So unfortunately, I'm going to be skipping that one. If I lived closer, I would go, but it's just, I'll be missing that one, but I'll be going for 317, which fingers crossed is hopefully DDP and Chimaev, or maybe, if Islam moves up, I think there could be a possibility of Topuria and Charles for like a vacant belt or something.
Yeah, that would be great, man. That could be great. Yeah. And then we're going to be talking about it later on, but a good possibility. Who knows what's going to happen with Paddy Pimblett after this, right?
That's right.
We don't know what's happening. I was on MMA Fighting this week on BTL, and Mike Heck and the guys are talking about what if you do like a Ilya Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett after this. I don't know. Potentially, that could be it. It's really interesting to see what Islam decides to do with this situation. If he moves up, do you do an interim belt in the meantime? And I know Charles doesn't want to fight Ilya, but maybe, Paddy Pimblett, Ilya fight is the way to get Topuria to that title shot.
It's really going to depend how this fight goes. Man. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, because it's 5-round fight. The only reason I think that might not happen next is because Topuria hasn't fought in a while. Pimblett's fighting tonight. I know it's a couple months down. I guess you'll fight if it's a title or something big, right? But I just wonder, like, maybe like a Charles might be more like, I know Charles might not want to fight him, but he, like, what are his options at this point? Like, we know that Arman's not getting the next shot, so really the pecking order would then go Charles. And then you've got Ilya in this whole mix. Like, it seems like Ilya Charles would make sense if Ilya Islam isn't happening. And I've done a bunch of videos on my channel about this. Islam Ilya is the biggest fight you can make in the UFC right now outside of Jones and Aspinall. I don't think Jones and Aspinall is going to happen. I get Islam fans being like, look, it would be better for his career if he won a second belt. But I'm also thinking, like, this is, and I know fans will say, oh, it's a featherweight. Doesn't matter. This guy knocked out two of the best pound for pound fighters in the featherweight division. Yeah. And he walks on the field at Real Madrid. Like, this is Conor McGregor level stuff that we're seeing from Topuria. Take advantage now. I think Islam can win that fight. Like, he's bigger. Remember, Topuria used to fight as low as 135 early in his career. Like, the size is going to be a difference. I know it's a risk, but I mean, this is the type of fight that may never happen. And I just think like you could take advantage of it now. I think the UFC would really be into that. But I also get Islam wanting the second belt. But, welterweight's a different division too. So there's no guarantees. We'll see.
Very fascinating stuff here, man. And it's like if he moves up for the other belt, him and JDM is nowhere the size of a fight than him versus Ilya is. But then I guess for him, he's like, look, this is a lose-lose because if I lose to a featherweight, people are going to talk shit. If I win against a featherweight, they're going to talk shit. But for Ilya, it's really like a win-win because he loses to Islam. It's like, all right, well, this guy moved up. There's no shame in losing to Islam Makhachev at a higher weight class, So very interesting stuff right now. We got Dominic Reyes walking out right now. For everybody out there who, and we got Jack saying I can't take another Dominic Reyes KO loss. Well, I'm just looking through his record. For everybody that's been tuned out of his career, the guy has really gone through it. But James, it was against John Jones, Jan Blachowicz, Yuri, and then Ryan Spann sent him into another universe with such a bad KO. I thought we might never see him fight again. His head bounced off in that one. But he's been able to win a couple back-to-back. Justin Jacoby, if you don't mind, via KO. Anthony Smith, although, that fight, Anthony wasn't quite all there, but still that's a win over someone who's been, a veteran in the division. And now he's back against this one. Do you think he's made the changes? Do you think we're seeing a different version of Dominic Reyes here that can really capitalize on the moment today against Nikita Krylov?
I think he can, because you got to remember Krylov's got the layoff, right? So that'll be interesting. He was supposed to fight in November against Azamat Murzakanov, but Murzakanov having that drug test issue. So he hasn't fought, I think, since 2023. So he's got that in spades. And I know with Reyes, speaking to him, I didn't get a chance to speak to him ahead of this one, but he had told me going into the Ryan Spann fight, remember, that's where he trained with Pereira, and he said it kind of messed him up a bit for some reason. I don't know why, just wasn't in a familiar environment. You see in his corner, he's got his brother Jose, who's in his corner. That's the team that basically brought him up. So I think he's back with those guys in California. It's worked the last two fights. I don't think you can take anything away from that Anthony Smith fight. Anthony was not the Anthony Smith that we've seen just because he shouldn't have been fighting. And then the Jacoby fight, I'll give him that. I mean, Jacoby, I don't think had been finished, at least not too recently, but getting finished like that. So that was a legit win. I just wonder about his chin. That's getting that many knockout losses like Jan and Yuri. And let's not forget, he knocked Yuri out in that fight, but Yuri came to like a zombie and then knocked him out. So it was pretty incredible. But it's a good test. But if Reyes wins this, I mean, this could put him right back in contention. But I'm leaning on the Krylov side. I just think, the wrestling, he's got knockout power too. Not as much as like a Spann, but it's still there. So, I mean, I'd love to see Reyes win, but I think Krylov will probably take it. We'll see.
You know what's interesting here is that, I'm interested to see how Krylov looks. He had that shoulder injury that's kept him out of action now for a while, and he kind of disappeared. But, I mean, this is a guy that's coming off 3 wins. He last fought on March 11th, 2023, beat Ryan Spann via triangle choke. But I'm curious to see what he looks like. I'm also curious to see where he can slot in this division. It's so wide open, man. A lot of people are saying, hey, maybe this guy, maybe he's got the skill set to actually go all the way to the top and challenge, Uncle Ive for the belt here. And it's fascinating because the rankings, I mean, this division used to be the premier division in the UFC, the place that got all the big pay-per-view buys, from your Rampage Jacksons to your Vanderlei Silvas to your Chael Sonnens to your John Joneses to your Rashad Evans to your Lyoto Machidas, and the list goes on and on and on. And man, now you look at that top 10 and you're like, maybe 3 or 4 guys, no big names.
Yeah, it's really just Pereira.
Pereira. And we don't even know what he's doing next.
Well, it sounds like they're doing the rematch, would be my understanding with Ankalaev, just because he's had a couple title defenses. But you're right. And the weird thing, too, is there isn't really anyone. I mean, maybe Krylov's the guy. We forget that Krylov's actually, this is his second stint in the UFC. Remember, he came in really young, lost a couple key fights, got released, then came back. So this is a good push for him. By the way, interesting with Krylov, and Alan, you mentioned this in the chat. Krylov representing Russia now. Remember, he's Ukrainian. So I don't know if some political thing going on there, but I see that right there on the screen that he's got the Russian flag, which is a bit interesting. But Krylov could be the guy.
I'm still repping Ukraine, James. That's where I'm from, brother.
Yeah, that's right. I can't remember. You were born there, right? And then moved there.
I lived there, and then I came over to Australia,
There you go. Well, got warm weather there.
That is interesting, man. There's so many crazy politics behind the scenes that people don't even know about. And, you even see what's going on with Hamzat Chimaev just trying to get a visa because he's running from one country to another. And it's just the intensity of, having to back certain people who knows what's going on behind the scenes there, as Bruce Buffer is about to announce both men.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, where are you in yours? Because I'm watching mine. So in Canada, we I order all my stuff through Fight Pass. So I'm watching it on Fight Pass right now. And right now I'm seeing they're doing, Reyes is doing one of these, and they're just kind of warming up. I mean, let's hope we're around the same time. If we're not, we'll just, we'll figure it out.
We'll have to pause them down. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit behind you. I'm only seeing Reyes's name up now with him.
Yeah, no, I am too. I think we're around the same time. Yeah, it just popped up, so we're good.
So we're still hanging around here. Dominic Reyes, I got to say, man, I kind of feel for the guy. He's kind of copped it. People always talking about this John Jones loss. He went through a period where it was kind of a little bit difficult to interview because he felt a little bit hesitant to talk about certain things, and he looked kind of annoyed because it felt like
I didn't get him before this fight, and normally I text him and he usually gives me one. So I don't know.
He's not big on it now, man. And I saw
I saw that clip right where he's like, "Oh, newer fighters don't respect me," and I'm like, "Oh, I hope it's not that." Yeah.
So that guy does a great job as well. But I actually found that to be so fascinating. I do find it that Reyes sometimes gets a little bit offended or gets in his own head about stuff. So I wonder if that's,
could be.
And I guess, I don't know. I guess you go into this fight with John Jones, you think he might have won it, and then I don't know, it just puts you in this weird spot where you go on to lose all that many fights, and all that people say is, "Oh, well,
things can change very quickly." That's MMA to a T. I mean, look at Adesanya right now. Like he's, this is a guy that was one of the biggest superstars in the UFC, and then he just got knocked out by Imavov of all people. It's just so weird that this is how quickly the sport can flip on a dime. So
the Backfist boys.
Yeah, that's right.
Huh?
Dean knows. Yeah, Dean knows. He's an OG.
Rude. Who's in the Backfist boys? Just quickly, as we're going to round one, is it you, Casper,
Hunter,
Oscar,
Hunter? No, Hunter Homistech.
Yep.
And then, by the way, round one's underway. But who else was in it? I can't remember. Was Oscar there? Or no, Ant Walker for sure was there.
Ant Walker, shout out to Ant. What a legend.
Another guy who's not in this industry anymore.
Yeah, I miss that guy, man. We'll have to hit that guy up and catch up with him forever.
Better do a reunion show, then we'll do some karaoke.
Dude, look at this, Krillov moving forward on Reyes, closing the distance.
He's trying to go for the knockout.
I'm at 426. What about you, James?
I'm at 430, so you're actually ahead of me. So go, by all means, just say whatever you got to say, and we might be a bit behind. I'm now at 424. Oh, he just hit Krillov with a jab. That was good.
So right from the get-go, man, Krillov looks like this layoff hasn't impacted him. He's looking smooth in there, very at home.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think he's trying to capitalize on Reyes a little bit. He's been susceptible sometimes, letting people in the pocket. Sometimes they've landed big shots. And it looks like Krylov's trying to get in there and sort of set the standard early and sort of land some big shots. Trying to get Reyes to kind of shell up a little bit here, James. I don't know.
I agree. Yep. Totally agree. And I think the one thing you're seeing right now from Krillov is aggressiveness, which may work against him. Reyes is a very good early fighter, when it comes to finishes. But you can see right now when Reyes is on his back foot, he's not as effective. And that's kind of what Krillov is doing right now. He's really zoning in and just, again, not showing any fear. Shades of Ankalaev and Pereira a little bit,
I wonder for Krillov as well, while he's on, with fixing up the shoulder, you would have been like, man, I cannot wait to get back in here and do my thing. It's so much opportunity. And what a great fight for him, by the way, Reyes. A good way for him to get back into the mix, even though he's 11th. This is a good way to do it.
Former title challenger. All that stuff looks good on the resume, right?
So far, Reyes, well, here we go. He's trying to establish something here. It looks like he's kind of struggling to figure out his timing and the distancing here, James.
We're not really seeing him throw that much.
There's a kick there. Yeah. Krillov throwing some spinny stuff at Reyes. It looks like Reyes is starting to sort of. Oh! Did you see that?
I'm going to see it in a second.
Here it comes.
Wow. Good for him. Good for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're asking me if I'm back. They're asking me.
That was huge. I'm trying to remember the last time Krillov was knocked out. That was crazy.
The John Wick moment for Dom Reyes. He is back. Dude, you do not. This is unbelievable. So everybody watch that. That replay is going to be insane. Beautiful counter short catches Krillov as he comes in.
Yeah.
Dude, unbelievable.
That was insane.
Even Donald Trump's smiling in that one. Reyes is officially back. What a win.
Huge. First knockout loss for Krillov since 2013. That's how long it's been. And I think that was his first UFC stint, actually, when he got knocked out there.
Look at this replay. So Krillov moving in. Oh, what about that shot, James?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, so I'm going to see what hit him. Was it? Oh, it was just a straight left.
That was pinpoint right there.
Yeah, he caught him coming in.
That takes.
This is good, man. You know what? Good story for just in general. Like, here was a guy that, you know, everyone had written off. I want him to retire. 3 straight wins. I know it hasn't been the cleanest sort of win streak with everything that's going on, but this is a huge win right here for Dominic Reyes. He's back in the mix. This opens up a lot of opportunities for him now. If you look at some of the names at the top, right? You've got, obviously you've got like Ulberg. You've got, Rakic is still up there. You've got, like, I'm just thinking of fight. Actually, I guess he fought, no, he didn't fight Rakic. I'm getting Anthony Smith mixed up, but there's a lot of names he hasn't fought that are in that mix that he could definitely square up with now. So he's got to be right up there. I mean, if you're doing Pereira and Ankalaev next, you could potentially do Ulberg and Reyes. I think there was talk of them fighting last year anyways. That could make some sense here.
That's right, man. That's right. And I was going to say that for people just tuning in right now who aren't watching the pay-per-view, basically Dom Reyes came out, he looked a little bit hesitant, and then Krillov lunged in and he counter-shotted him, put him out with the most beautiful looking shot, which puts him now at a 3-fight win streak, James. A 3-fight win streak after he lost to John Jones, and then 3 fights back to back stoppages, some of them pretty brutal. And now here he is. He's back. We've got people in the chat here. Alan Cortez, the career resurgence is real for Reyes. Apparently, according to him, people are not treating him nicely in the back, some of the other fighters, or they'll be treating him nicely now, man.
Yeah, big time. You got to show some respect there. This is a man that a lot of people felt beat John Jones. Let's hear what I'm trying to hear what Reyes is going to say right here.
Yeah, let's see what he says.
Extremely tough. He's never been knocked out in here in light heavyweight division, and he's just a solid competitor, bro. He's one of the hardest matchups in the division, in my opinion, and I got it done tonight, baby. I know this is a very emotional moment for you because you've gone through so much. You had so many.
Joe's just talking to Reyes, talking about how much of an emotional moment it is for him, how much bigger this is for him.
I'll tell you what, man, it sucked.
He talked about how it sucked, this lose
I'll just
streak.
listen to yours because you're ahead. But yeah.
That he kind of believed in himself and his family, and it kept him in the UFC. And he's sending a message to everyone just to keep fighting, which is a cool message. We've seen Izzy and those guys leave that message. There's some Jesus stuff, and then he says he loves everyone. Now he's about to watch this replay. This will be interesting.
Mm-hmm. See if he gets emotional here.
Lands that beautiful left hand.
Whoa, that camera thing they just showed was cool.
Isn't that cool?
Camera? Yeah.
I love that.
It's like Matrix style.
So he's asking, it's put you back in the top of the heap. What does he want next?
I think we can actually hear from your end too. Because I'm hearing everything they're saying, so.
Joe's like, dude, I'm trying to help you here. Just name a name, goddammit.
Exactly. Whatever the UFC wants. No, say something. You know what fight I've always wanted to see too, and I don't know if, I mean, it could make sense if he wanted to do it. Him and Jan Blachowicz would be awesome. Or no, he's fought Jan. Never mind. I'm getting my names mixed up here. I'm just trying to think of like some of the bigger names in the weight class here.
Dude, I reckon, I know, and I, you know, we love CKB. They do a great job, but your interpreter skills are decent. Please do it per fight. Okay, I'll give it a go. By the way, if there's any Russian fighters, I think my translation is much better than what the UFC provides. Whoa, Vitor Belfort. Sure. Jesus. Kaya Bahaya. So I was going to say, I think that I'd love to see an Ulberg fight, just only from the perspective that I think Ulberg's fight with Jan, even though it was impressive that he beat Jan, I just feel like he just needs that one more fight to pump people up. And I feel like him and Reyes could be a good fight. I don't know. I feel like he would beat Reyes, and it could be a good way for him to build himself up. And then for Reyes, you know, it's a great opportunity to make his way up the ranks. I know we're talking about rankings and stuff, but I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. I want your opinion. Do you think Ulberg beat Jan? Because I didn't.
Yeah, I thought it was extremely close. I thought he just inched it out, but I don't think that's the kind of win that gets you a title shot, James. You know what I mean? That's not the
yeah.
kind
So
of
I'm
win
looking.
that
Sorry, I'm
gets
looking
you a
here at
title shot.
Tapology. So I see that Reyes and Ulberg were supposed to fight at UFC 297 last year, and then they were supposed to fight again in March. So it never happened. So there is some history there. Should mention that.
Yeah, damn. All right, well.
Yeah, everyone's wanting Ulberg Reyes. We were on the money with that, Dennis. There we go.
Ulberg Reyes, we can get some of that going. Someone's asking when's Paddy fighting. Stephen, Paddy's not fighting for what? We got another fight.
Two fights.
Two fights.
Two more fights.
Oh, baby. We got
Bryce Mitchell and Gian Silva. Yeah.
Bryce Mitchell, Gian Silva next. Drop your thoughts on the fight in the comment section. James, what have you thought of this whole crazy, untrue narrative about the media being against Bryce Mitchell and, this press conference where people were trying to be like, oh, the media was having a go at Bryce Mitchell because of blah, blah, blah. And the whole build-up just going into this fight, which is a little bit circusy. WWE in the 70s, right?
So my thoughts on this are that, like Bryce said, like this whole thing started with the Bryce comment way back when. We don't need to repeat it on his show, and this sort of opened the floodgates. Now, you say something like that, you're immune to you're not immune to criticism. So I think it's totally fair if the media wants to question that and bring that up. My thing where I kind of agree with some other people, and this you may disagree with me here. The comment he made about killing the dogs, it was in reference to his crops it was something to do with his animals getting attacked or something. Yeah, so that was taken a bit out of context. It made it sound like Bryce just likes to kill animals. So I'm on the side of the people that believe that. But here's what happens a lot of times, man, and you know this too. Like, you can't win either way. Like if someone says something, like for example, the Bryce stuff, it's totally fair in my opinion to bring up stuff that was said recently. We had that whole thing in Toronto with Strickland. Like that was a quote that was from a couple of years ago. I can see people being a bit more upset with that than the stuff with Bryce, because Bryce was more recent. I think at the end of the day, you either ask those questions or you don't. If you don't ask the questions, you're just a paid shill. You won't ask the tough questions. Yeah. And then if you do ask it, it's like, you're just trying to get a gotcha moment. Like I'll tell you what, most of the people that are in that room, they're not trying to get anyone. They're doing their job. And I think people have to realize that, especially when they're in that type of environment. Like, I know it's not the easiest to do, but you have to do it. Like sometimes you have to ask those questions. And I don't really think that a lot of the media out there are trying to make fighters look bad. I think they're just trying to do their job. So it's a tough situation. Trust me. So
I think it's one of those situations as well where it's important to have media around just to be able to kind of talk to fighters about what's actually going on. Because I know there's like a lot of fighters with their own channels and their own like YouTubes, but that's when people stop covering what's actually happening. And it becomes like you need to have someone that goes to a press conference and say, hey, listen, this happened. What is your reaction to this? Dana, what's going on with this? Someone's got to keep people honest, right, James? Because
otherwise it's just a PR thing. You're exactly right. Like it's great that fighters have their channels. I think it's awesome. I like to see fighters make extra money. A lot of these, look at someone like Bisping, like he is making a second income off his YouTube channel. And I think that's awesome. Like I want to see fighters have good careers after they're done. My issue though is with some fighters that are doing it, it's only through the lens of what they see. You're not going to see everything. It's kind of like us too. Like, we say things, but maybe that's why we have the audience to keep us in check, or maybe we missed something, or maybe I made a mistake. Like I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong, right? So I think in a lot of cases too, while it's good that fighters are giving fans more access, they also need to be held accountable for things, or they need to be, they need to have some sort of pushback, because it's just otherwise you're not really getting the truth out there. You're just getting one view. That's the whole point of covering the sport. You got to get every angle, right? So it's important.
Got to keep him honest. So we got Dean bringing up the weight cut issues for Gian Silva. And it was an interesting one, man. He released a little video after it all happened. We all saw him come out. They put out the big thing, and then he crawls out from underneath like a dog, does the whole gimmick. But yeah, he said people don't see the battle behind the scenes. Bryce Mitchell is not an easy fight. Do you think that this weight cut might have any implications on Gian Silva here, or is this just another week of being a fighter here, James?
Well, he missed weight against Charles Jourdain. I still have some questions about Gian Silva at 145. Like the big thing coming into this fight that I think is making people question if you want to lay that huge price tag on Gian Silva if you're betting, is that he hasn't fought the best opposition. And his one good win was a fight against Charles Jourdain that he missed weight, and Jourdain's not even in the weight class anymore. Whereas Bryce, you can talk about the losing streak, but look who he's losing to. He's losing to Ilia Topuria. He's losing to Josh Emmett. These are top contenders in the weight class in the case of Topuria.
He looked good against Topuria in certain periods. Go back and watch.
Took him down. Yeah, absolutely.
He stood with him for a while, took him down, was good on the ground. And the other thing is, Bryce Mitchell is big. Like people don't understand. He is big for that weight class, right? Like people don't understand. He is tall and long and not as easy as what people think he is to fight.
No. But John Silva's got that death touch, you know, like they say in Bloodsport, right? You know, you hit the shot and it could be lights out. So John Silva's got 3 rounds to do that. If I'm Bryce, I'm getting this to the ground immediately, doing what we've seen other fighters do in terms of takedowns, like and keep it there. Don't play into his strengths. You know, one fight I always bring up as an example of like playing into a fighter's strengths. I'm going to go way back here, Dennis. You'll get this fight. Andrei Arlovski fought Brett Rogers in Strikeforce, and Andrei Arlovski absolutely should have won that fight, but he didn't win the fight because he decided to stand and trade with Brett Rogers, which was Brett Rogers' only path to victory. And guess what? He won. So why play into your opponent's strengths when you can play into their weaknesses? Bryce should immediately be shooting for a takedown. Don't mess with fire here. Bryce has taken some serious damage because you remember before he got submitted by Topuria, he took some hard shots too. You can't keep taking shots like that and have a long career. I think it would be in Bryce's best interest to get this to the ground, take Silva's weapons away, and test out his ground game. But again, easier said than done. We'll see.
It's going to be interesting, though, man, because when these guys come out, whatever happens, the spotlight is going to be on either Bryce or Silva here, and it's going to be massive, massive things for whoever wins. Also going to be interesting to see what Bryce might do for a speech if he wins. There's all sorts of interesting things that come out here. But in terms of the division, man, I mean, we're having a look here in their division of featherweight. I mean, a lot of fun fights on tap potentially for the winner here. Especially Bryce Mitchell can get it done. I mean, you look at that division, and we've just added Pico in there as well. Yeah. I mean, there is, and Pitbull's in there now. There is just all sorts of fun fights. Is there anyone that you would love to see either guy fight next with a win here?
Well, I think it depends. I'll say this right now. If Bryce wins, I think he's just going to get kind of a middle of the pack opponent. I think if John Silva wins, we'll see the UFC push him. The UFC loves the fighting nerds. We just saw Carlos Prates get a really big step up against Ian Gary in a main event. And I know a lot of that was timing and circumstances with Jamal Hill and Cleo Roundtree being moved. But you can just tell, like, I've seen the way Dana talks about them. They want to push those guys as fast as possible. If John Silva knocks out Bryce Mitchell, like, I would not be shocked if he's getting someone like Arnold Allen or Brian Ortega next. Like, they will push him and get him because they love the style of fighting. Now, if Bryce Mitchell wins, I'd say it's more likely you see maybe like it could be like an Allen or someone like that. Like, but I don't think it'll have as much meaning, so to speak. Like, you could even do the fact that they're on the same card. You could do like a Bryce Mitchell and maybe like a Pitbull next or something. Like, actually, wouldn't that be interesting with the comments this week? But it would be interesting to see how the UFC matches them up. But certainly, I think that if Silva wins, there'll be more of a push for him for a title shot, just because Bryce is coming off. Well, I guess Bryce is coming off a win over Cron Gracie, but the 2 fights prior, they were against contenders, and he got finished in both of them.
Dude, what about this? Amanda Nunes just announced into the UFC Hall of Fame. You'll be there for that, James, doing some live coverage on the ground. Congratulations to Nunes, man. I remember when you and me we were at UFC 200. She ended up in the main event slot. Remember last minute, they had to switch some stuff around. And I remember thinking back then, I don't know, Nunes for the main event of this massive, massive card. But ever since then, dude, she's went on to have massive, massive moments. Got a chance to beat up Ronda Rousey, really solidify herself as the GOAT, a couple of titles. And apparently she might even come back. Also, her relationship and the fact that her and her partner were both able to be competitive high-level UFC fighters while having a kid. Like, she really broke a lot of barriers, always kind of pretty cool. And the way that she fought as well, I think really helped the sport and her division, right? Because
big time.
Yeah, she was an exciting fighter who would come out and mix it up. Congratulations to her. You got any sort of thoughts on Amanda Nunes?
Well, I got to see her last fight, which may still be her last. I'm still not convinced she comes back. We'll see. I know she nodded yesterday and that, there could be a big fight, but I mean, why come back now? Like, you've done everything you need to do, like you've got the accolades. Like, it's one of those things. Is the risk worth the squeeze? And like, does she want to keep fighting? We'll have to see. But I was at that last fight against Aldana in Vancouver. Like, she battered her the whole fight. It was a dominant performance. Yeah, you're right. She raised the bar. And what's interesting with Nunes too, and I always like stories like this, is that like she didn't have like an undefeated career like coming into this, right? Like, she had a couple setbacks. She lost, I think it was Kat Zingano beat her like early in her career. Like, I like to see fighters
UFC 178.
Yeah, like I like to see fighters figure it out. I think that was also the time that she had moved over to American Top Team after. I like to see fighters that figure it out and go on some crazy run. And so for me, Nunes fits that mold of someone that, didn't really give up. Because I think, especially nowadays with how the fans are, you lose a fight, it's, you're off to, the regionals. But like, it's good to see fighters persevering, like we just saw tonight with Dominic Reyes.
Dude, it's going to be interesting. The boys are about to walk out, Mitchell and Silva. I was going to say, I agree with you, man. I don't know. Like, do we want to see another Pena fight? If Pena does beat Kayla here, does that make sense? I don't know. But I guess if Kayla wins, there's all this background stuff between her and Nunes and ATT and this and that and this and that. I know potentially you could come back for that. But if you've solidified yourself as one of the best, I don't know. That's a tough fight for Nunes.
Well, it's like the Jones thing too. Like, I know a lot of fans talk about the ducking and all that. I mean, my only issue with Jones really is that if he had just not had a title fight against Stipe, vacated his title, said, "Listen, just one more fight I want," I don't think fans would care, because Jones, he's the greatest 205er. The issue I think people have is Jones now trying to say he's one of the greatest heavyweights, and it's like, you had such a weird run at heavyweight. You fought Gane, who doesn't have ground game, finished him early. I'll give him that win. That was great. But you're not fighting the old Stipe. That's like saying you beat Fedor in Bellator at the tail end of his career. It doesn't mean the same as if you beat Fedor in Pride. So, like, I get it for Jones, because it's not like, I think he must know deep down that Tom's not a good, like, it's a tough fight for him, right? Like, and so is he, all the money in the world, is it worth it to what fans view you as the sort of unbeatable thing? I don't know if it is. Like, I get it from John's perspective, right? So same sort of thing with Nunes. Like, she could fight Kayla, and I think on paper, Nunes, if she's anything close to what she was before retiring, I think she can defeat Kayla. But, is it worth it? Is it worth the squeeze? I don't know. And I don't think Kayla's a big enough name right now that it's worth it for her to come back, even if the UFC gave her the bag. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, the event itself, probably not the hottest pay-per-view you could make, but it's something, James, and we'll take it at this point.
Well, at least Kayla's in the division. I mean, can you imagine if there was no Kayla right now? It'd be like Juliana Pena against, like, I don't know, like Norma Dumont or Macy Chasson or someone like that. And nothing against either of them, but at least there's some intrigue. Like, I feel like that's a division that's kind of been an afterthought, I hate to say it, since basically Nunes has been gone.
Yeah. As we watch Megan O'Leary do her thing, and congratulations to her and Joe. Lopez, a security guard, almost pushed her over into the
guy who looks
wall.
like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, pushed her over into the wall as she's pregnant. But yeah, she's doing a good job, man. Impressive stuff considering, And we got Silva walking out here.
Yeah, I got to meet him in Seattle, man. He's a really cool, emotional guy.
Huh? Bit of a character.
Just like a good dude. Like, I can't describe it. Like, here's a guy that, like, he came out before he did his media day. He, like, came up to all of us, like, shook our hand, like, not usual stuff, but just a guy you can tell just appreciates the moment he's in. And, he is emotional. Like, I don't know what he said in Portuguese. I was trying to get the translation there from Fabio, but, he's a guy that really, like, appreciates what he has. And I think really, can flip a switch. Like, we can see him, you can kind of see him there, like, barking at the camera there. Like, he is a guy that is an absolute killer. But I just think he's just an intriguing addition to the UFC. And I'm excited to see how far he can take this, like, to see a guy with that type of knockout power, very intriguing.
I just think that he gets it. And I think a lot of UFC fighters just need to have a look at him a little bit and just be like, all right, like, this is also entertainment and a sport. And, he's kind of like he's got a little bit of a pro wrestling type thing. I guess it's just a part of his personality. There he is with his wife. He keeps talking about how he wants to win so he can afford to get married or something. But, like, he's one of these guys who's just an interesting guy, like you said. There's a lot of just questions around him and mystique. And that's what you want to see. That's what we used to see like 10, 15 years ago, before everyone had a YouTube channel, everyone had a social media channel. Like, you didn't know what these guys got up to. They were these mysterious figures, and you didn't know what was going to happen. So there he is there. And he is an absolute character. And again, this is the WWE in the 90s. You've got one character versus another, and the UFC have used this perfectly to capitalize on monetizing this pay-per-view. So good on them. Yeah. Big position.
Reminds me a bit of we'll use an old UFC reference. Reminds me a bit of like a Melvin Gillard. He's got like that type of power where it's like, any fight, like he could end it. We'll see how the ground game is. I remember Melvin Gillard lost a couple fights by submission. He couldn't defend a damn rear naked choke. I don't think Silva's on that level by any means, but kind of gives me that same reminder,
Melvin Gillard ended up coming to Melbourne and fighting. And losing here, I'm pretty sure. And
didn't he fight Izzy? I thought he fought Izzy before he got in
he lost. Yeah, lost to Izzy.
Yeah.
Lizzie. He lost to Izzy here.
Lizzie's his brother. Yeah.
Izzy. By the way, for everybody tuning in right now, we're about to watch Silva and Mitchell. Silva's just walked out to the ring. I love this. He does this little strut thing into the ring. Like this guy milks every little bit when he is on camera. Yeah. He knows exactly what he's doing. This is pro wrestling training 101. Taking his time to get in here. And boom, like making people just kind of wait and chance and get into what he's doing. If this guy could make it all the way to the top of the division, he can make some serious money. The UFC can really do something with him here. He's in the octagon So for everybody watching right now, get ready because it's going to be a big one. Bryce Mitchell coming in here as well in a moment. Dude, yeah, this is going to be a crazy, crazy fight. He's barking. Was he barking at Trump? He's just going around barking at everyone. He's going around looking just all around the octagon. Okay, here comes Bryce Mitchell. He's got the American flag. He's walking out to the ring. And he's definitely locked in, man. Like, did you watch during the week him and Silva, the intense face-off? Silva.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen a face-off like that in a while.
Bryce not taking one step back. Like, you've got to give it to the guy. Like, he is all the way in. You can tell that he's in great shape going in here. Apparently, he said he had COVID versus Tapuria, and he wasn't 100%. I think.
Remember, he retired after that briefly. A lot of people forget that, and you know, I know obviously heat of the moment, but it's just interesting that he was really devastated by that loss.
See, he's coming in. I love the shorts. Love the shorts. He's got that, the hunting sort of foliage shorts going in here. And man, this is a massive, massive moment. The stakes just could be high for these guys right now, right, James?
It's a big fight, and I'm glad they put this on the pay-per-view. Like, this is a very interesting fight. Like, is Bryce, we'll see, another loss here for Bryce would be really tough for him. A loss for Silva. Here's the thing with Silva, and I brought this up when I was at the Seattle press conference. Like, you got fans right now talking about him being a future champion. And it's like, hold on a second here. He looks great. Yes. Let's see him fight some good competition. He gets a knockout win over Bryce Mitchell tonight. We can start having that conversation, in my opinion. But if he can't get past this test, I think we got to slow the brakes down a little bit. I love that fans are passionate. I love they pick their fighters. They hitch to their wagon, so to speak. But I think a lot of times people get way too excited way too early on certain fighters. And, vets like you and me, we've seen this come and go. There's so many fighters. Sage Northcutt's a good example. Everyone's like, oh my God, this guy's going to be the next big thing. He didn't even make it past Brian Barberena.
I know, so many, dude. And I was going to say, he's got the demons in his sleep trying to seduce him, and he's knocked them all back. And here he is here today.
Look at this. Oh my God.
Silva already coming across the ring. Yeah. Donald Trump there, not quite sure who to nod at, what to say.
Yeah, well, Bryce was at Bryce was pointing at Trump. Bryce was at Trump's he was at the inauguration night. So
okay, and then Elon, he's got something against Musk or something. I don't know.
I think so. Anyway, yeah.
So here we go, 5'10", a massive height reach. It's funny, the actual reach when it comes to reach, only 1 inch more. 70 versus 69 inches for John Silva.
2-year age difference, not much there, right? Like, I figured Silva was a bit younger, actually.
Yeah, that's right. It's crazy that he's 28, man, actually. He's actually still quite young. So these guys, perfect time in their career to be matching up here. Now, Silva is kind of right up to Bruce Buffer right here. Right up to him. Not giving him any space. It almost looks like a post-fight interview. He is right up in the middle of that. Have you seen this? This is crazy right here. Look at this. He's just relishing the moment. He's about to break Bruce Buffer's shoulder.
Yeah.
He's barking at him. This is insane stuff. Insane stuff.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It's just crazy how he flips a switch like that. You see the smile on his face, and then you see the level of intensity. And look at Bryce. He's all business too. This is so good.
Dude, yeah, it's been a long road to the octagon for Bryce Mitchell. He's really had to get through a bit to get here. And here he is. He's doing a cross with his hands. People aren't watching. Yeah. Now he's shaking it off. By the way, one of his cornermen with a great sort of little goatee. I don't know how you get in between there.
That's really tough. Yeah.
If you use the code word submission at manscaped.com with free shipping and 20%.
There you go.
Achieve that with a beard hedger. Make sure to support Manscaped, who support us and keep us going. All right, let's see. We're about to go into round one over here as I get my little round one thing. Bryce Mitchell versus John Silva. Will they do the glove touch?
I'll say no.
No. Okay, here we go. So this is interesting right here. Bryce Mitchell's really pushing the action. He's cutting off the ring. He's got Silva up against the cage. And I think Silva is just preparing for a potential shot here, James.
Yeah. What's he doing? Pointing to himself. That's crazy.
Some low kicks here. Now Silva's controlling the octagon. It looks like he's just really using that front hand to measure out that right hand down the pipe and start landing as soon as possible. But dude, Bryce Mitchell's looking pretty light on the feet right here, James. Usually
he's looking relaxed.
Yeah.
think he's got to know too. He's like, look, like I've been in there with some of the best, you know?
Silva throws a spinny kick to the head.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
you're like
just
3 seconds behind me, but keep it up, man. I'm sure there's something crazy is going to happen, and then I'm going to be like, oh, great, I get to see it in a second. This will be perfect. That's what's cool. I don't want to miss anything. By the way, what's up with the stream bots in here, man? These people.
I know,
the free stream stuff. Oh, it happens to me too.
Get rid of these guys. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So far, Mitchell's doing pretty good. It's interesting, man. He's just standing here with Silva. It looks like he's happy to kind of see what he can do on the feet, James. No shot yet. And he's just kind of working it. It looks like
Silva's trying to load up.
Yeah, and it looks like he's just trying to get Bryce's movements down here. His reactions, his movements. Looks like he's trying to measure them up as the round goes, but we'll see what happens here. Such a wide stance from Silva as well, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So hard just to get both legs and take him down straight away. Yeah, Bryce. So Silva's now starting to control the octagon here a little bit, James, and he's kind of starting to push Mitchell back into that cage just a little bit.
Also, what do you think it says about Mitchell, like willing to stand and trade and maybe tell Silva, like, I'm not afraid of your striking? Like, could be good, could work against him too. We'll see. Again, I said from the beginning, I think it would be better if he goes for the takedown, but maybe he feels his striking's on par. And again, we've seen him strike with some really good guys too. We'll see what happens.
It looks like Silva is starting to get close with his shots. He's just a little bit off. I feel like he's almost measured things out here. But yeah, I think Bryce is trying to prove something. What do you think, James? Hey, I can do this.
Absolutely. He has to. Yeah. I mean, think about all the backlash he got and, and also losing like a couple key fights. Like like I said, he was devastated after that Topuria loss, and then to follow that up with the Emmett KO, which was one of the worst knockouts we've ever seen. There's got to be some, redemption here in this fight. And, I think the UFC did a big favor giving him Gracie his last fight. This is a different animal though. John Silva.
Yeah, so we got a minute and 57. It's interesting. Bryce did shoot in here, and Silva is trying to reverse the position. Bryce got his hand on the inside leg. Now both guys are up. He did try to get down here, and I think Silva is dotting his I's, crossing his T's here. He's not going to just let an easy takedown come by. We got people in the chat here that are relying on our breakdown because their stream stopped working. We appreciate it. Me and James will do the best we can. A minute, 33 seconds left as Silva is beginning to push Silva's beginning to push Mitchell back up against the cage. But Bryce still moving forward. And James, I don't know if it's to his detriment, but this has been mainly a stand-up battle so far in the round.
Yeah, which is good for the fans. I mean, obviously you want to fight like this, but I do wonder for Bryce, are you biting off a little bit more than you can chew here? We'll see. Again, Silva's striking is going to get really tested here. And this sort of goes to what I was talking about earlier about fans' expectations. Like, if Silva's not able to outstrike Bryce Mitchell in this fight, I think that says a lot about him. Maybe fans are looking a little too much into him. We'll see. Nice jab there by Bryce, by the way.
Interesting now, Bryce gets a takedown, but Silva puts him in a guillotine choke. Very, very interesting. This thing is tight. Very, very dangerous as well. Because when you put that choke in, James, your arms get exhausted. For someone who strikes as much as
I don't know if this is the best move against a guy like Mitchell. Who's very good on the ground.
Blood, you get your lactic acid, and because you got to be loose when you strike, it could come at a detriment as the fight goes on. He is not letting go. Bryce is just defending, and at this point, Bryce is fine. For people that don't understand this choke, you get your chin down. And James, I'm a little bit ahead of you here, but Bryce actually is out.
Yeah, no. I figured that was going to happen. I was just like literally like a second or two behind you.
And Silva goes for another choke here.
I know. What's he doing?
This could be a bad move from him. I mean, if you're Bryce, this is exactly what you want. Tire out those arms. You know you can get him down. 5 seconds left to go in the first round. For everybody tuning in right now, we're watching Mitchell versus Silva. And boom, the fight is all over.
Yeah. The round is over, to be clear. But yes, it's tough. I mean, I'd say Silva probably took that round, but I don't know. We'll see how. I'm curious to see what the strikes were like, because Bryce was landing a lot in that first round too. Very interesting strategy here for Mitchell as he opts not to go that route. But this is something we haven't really seen from John Silva, is him go more than a couple rounds. So his cardio is going to be tested here. I'm curious to see how he looks. And you mentioned the lactic acid and all that. we're going to see. At least he's not like Carlos Prates and he smokes 2 packs of cigarettes. But, the last time he went 3 rounds with Dober, had the doctor's cut early in that fight, doctor stoppage cut. So see if he's able to do so here. We're looking at some of the highlights here. Bryce landing a couple jabs. We got that nice kick to the head from Jean Silva as well. And some good action overall here. Nice jab. I think Dennis is off here. I don't know what happened. I'm running the show now. I'm taking over Submission Radio. I guess so. We'll have to see him come back here. I wonder if his power went out or something. Anyways, you guys are stuck with me. I'll do my best here to carry the ship. I do a few of these already. I can't take the round 1 graphic off, so my apologies. It's actually round 2 now on my stream as we're going through this. Let's see what we got here. Hey, Bo, settle down over there in the chat, my man. Come on. We're just trying to watch and have some fun here. Mitchell with a nice low kick there. Wait till Dennis comes back. I'll try and just describe everything I'm seeing here, guys. So they're both trading kicks right now. You see, Silva just cracked Mitchell with the left, a right, and then Mitchell ends up getting up, and but he hit him pretty good there. Not too devastating. Nice kick to the body there by Jean Silva. Jean Silva actually let Bryce get back up. He's doing this. He's almost taunting him in a way. This may come back to bite him. We'll see what's going on as I'm going to check my DMs and see what's going on with Dennis. Hopefully he's okay here, but I'll try and describe the action as I'm seeing it right now. So let's see what we got going on there. Hope his power didn't go out. That's happened to me before too. So Bryce is getting Silva against the cage. He's going for a takedown, almost gets it. Silva rolling around and back a little bit, and Mitchell ends up holding him against the fence. We'll see what happens here, and we'll see what's going on. So. Yeah, so Mitchell's just holding Silva against the fence. Not a whole lot happening here, but this is, Mitchell just trying to neutralize him. Silva's got 1 hook under Bryce's head. He's really trying to go for that guillotine choke. And now that goes to the ground with Silva on top. Bryce trying to do something here. And again, nice shot to the body there from Silva. He's back up. He looks pretty fresh. I'll say for a guy who used a lot of that arm strength in the first round, he's looking pretty good here. And you can see there, 35% advancing stats there for Jean Silva. So he is ahead a little bit, I think, in this fight. Again, Silva really looking like he's trying to load up for the big shot. Nice kick to the body there. Mitchell, again, trying to go for a takedown. That is good takedown defense here for Jean Silva. Jean Silva with a spinning elbow that misses, but keep an eye on that going forward, or I'll keep an eye on it and tell you guys about it. Nice left hand there by Jean Silva. And then again, let's see what we got. Trying to go for another takedown. Nice shot to the body there by Bryce. Kick to the body. And again, Mitchell getting Silva up against the fence, but has not been successful with the takedowns. We'll see if he's able to do anything here. I'm going to try and get the commentary on a little bit so I can hear what they're saying. Okay, kick to the body there for Mitchell. Mitchell's doing a good job of landing strikes. Silva hasn't done a ton this round, other than, I guess, trying to land that big kick. Kick to the face there by Jean Silva. Bryce looks like he's slowing down a little bit here. Silva definitely looks like a fresher fighter here. We're at 150 in the second round. Again, I'd say Silva took that first round. And Mitchell's got 20 leg kicks in this fight so far. So that's pretty impressive. More leg kicks than usual. So I guess he prepped for a striking battle here in this one. And another hard left there by Silva. Mitchell backing up. Nice kick to the body again there by Silva. And nice right hand there by Silva. Mitchell again going for the takedown. He's got 1 leg. We'll see if he's able to do it here. Silva up against the fence, laying down elbows. Mitchell again relentlessly working. And another choke here for Silva. It does go to the ground, but Silva's got the choke. It looks pretty tight here. He taps! Bryce Mitchell taps! Holy crap! Of all outcomes, and he shoots in his face. Oh my God, guys. Bryce is down on the ground there. Silva looked pissed after he did the submission too. Bryce is just coming to now, but Silva definitely barked at him after. Jean Silva by submission. Guys, this is a huge win. If we thought he was going to win this fight, it would have been by knockout. But to do it by submission, this shows the nice arsenal there with Jean Silva in the fight. This is a huge win for him, submitting Bryce Mitchell in the fight. I think the only other guy to submit Bryce Mitchell in the UFC is Ilia Topuria, right? It has to be because Emmett knocked him out, right? That's incredible. And when was the last time Jean Silva had a submission win? I'm going to go look that up right now, guys. Holy crap. Well, there's a good one for the Submission Radio channel. He hasn't had a submission win since August of 2021. Jean Silva is. What a time to bring that out. He looked great. That was awesome, guys. Man, hopefully you guys can find that replay somewhere, but that was a really incredible submission. As I can't get the graphic off the stream, guys. I have no controls. Waiting to find out what's going on with Dennis. So it was a left hook and then a right hand. He knocks Mitchell to the ground. Then when they're up against the fence, Bryce is pushing him against the fence. Silva does one of these. It gets him in sort of like a chokehold. And Bryce, you can see it's really tight. Bryce is against the fence and he taps just a couple seconds after being on the ground. And he was out. His eyes are popping out of his head. It was incredible, guys. Holy crap. All right, guys, keep the questions coming. I'll answer what I can. I am not Dennis. I'm James Lynch. I have my own channel. It's called Lynch on Sports. You guys can find that on YouTube. But they're trying to Silva and Mitchell are trying to talk after the fact. They're trying to I'm guessing Dennis's power went out or something happened. I don't hear from him. 3 minutes and 50 seconds of the second round. Jean Silva. Let's hear what he has to say. I'll try and repeat what I can. I wish I could give you guys listen to the audio, but I don't have speakers. My everything's wired in with my headphones, so I'll try and do that as well. Dean's asked me if I do a show with Chris Cyborg. Yes, I do. She's just been off because she had the boxing fight, but I think we're back on Tuesday or maybe the week after. Okay, so Dennis says he'll be on in 2 minutes. His internet got cut out. John Silva says you can buy the Fighting Nerd glasses on UFC.com. They should just sell them directly. UFC's getting their cut off the glasses. They should be selling them directly from their gym. Get the 100% of the proceeds. Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it. Dean, I haven't seen you on my channel in a while. Hope you're doing well, dude. Did you hear that Bryce thought that Silva possessed him? Yes, I did hear that. Silva's like a mini Yoel Romero. Great comparison. Yes, just with nerd glasses on. I agree. Says I'm sad for him. Oh, he says I don't think Bryce is right in the head. Okay. Who did I want to win? I like both the fighters. I didn't have a preference on who was going to win. I know Bryce quite well. Like I've interviewed Bryce well before he was ever in the UFC, so I've known him for longer. But I've said, oh, look who's back! You tagging back in. So I'm going to tag back out, and you can talk to the audience, and then I'll hop back in. I got to do a quick thing for my channel, so I'll be back in a sec.
Awesome.
You got your audio there? You're good. Okay, cool. No problem. You can tell everyone what happened. See ya.
Cool. All right, guys. So what happened? Basically, I live in a dead zone here in Melbourne, Australia, and my internet stopped working. So it's still not 100%, but I was able to reset the boxer. And I want you guys to tell me what happened because I completely missed the end of that fight. Wow. Silva submitted Bryce Mitchell. Hit me in the chat, guys. Let me know what you think of it. Let's see here. You think Bryce is done contending? Wow. I mean, getting submitted by Silva, this is almost worse than him getting knocked out, right? Because the grappling is what Bryce is great at. We know he's one of the best grapplers sort of in that division outside of, the top of the top. And here we go. He got submitted. It was unbelievable. I missed the end of that fight, guys. I want you to give me a little bit more of a breakdown in the chat right here. Silva's like a mini Yoel Romero. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I can't believe that he submitted him. Let me see if I can get some of that replay going right here as I try to reset everything in the house. Let's see over there. Okay, I think we're back up. Let me just switch for 2 seconds to... Whoop, there we go. All right, I'm on the better internet now, guys. All right, so drop your questions here for me as we move on in the event. Obviously, we've got some big fights coming up. Yair, Patricio, Pitbull next. What kind of questions do you guys have for me? I'll answer a few here. Yeah, we got Alan Cortez going. What a feather in Silva's cap. Man, this is a huge win for Silva. There's only big things for him next. And I mean, he is one of the fighting nerds. I think that these guys are one of the best teams in MMA today. What a crazy run they're having. And look at this. The glasses. The Kai Bohaya gave me himself in Sydney. I've got them right here. It's just so impressive. Obviously, we've got Prades. He's going to be taking on Ian Gary in a main event next. Kai Bohaya, he was going off because obviously he was supposed to get a big fight next, and that's not locked in. So many guys. What about Duffy? We don't know what's going to be happening with him next. So many guys. Ruffy. So many guys. Mauricio Ruffy. We're waiting to see if it's him and Beneil Dariush next. Yes. Yeah, man. So listen to this, guys. For those who don't know, I used to do MMA, jiu-jitsu, boxing, and all of that for a really long time. But recently, because I'm a little bit older and I had a few injuries, I've decided to take up professional wrestling. So yeah, I've been doing professional wrestling now for a few months, and it's turned out to be a lot harder on my body than I thought. It's actually harder than MMA in so many ways, taking body slams, falling down the right way, sort of mixing it up with guys that I knew as well, because I'm obviously in a class full of beginners. So I've sort of had to slow down. I've had a few small injuries, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm at Relentless School of Pro Wrestling, which is in Melton here in Victoria, and I try to do as much as I can. It's sort of a new fun thing that I'm doing. If I ever have a match, I'll definitely let you guys know. As I try to get the UFC going here again on my tablet, but keep dropping your questions. What are you looking for in Pitbull's debut against Yair? I think for me, Alan, it's going to be where we at in this point in his career. Obviously, he's 37 years old. We've seen him get caught and lose in the past. What kind of Pitbull are we getting here? If he's able to stop Yair, I mean, whoa, man, that just throws him straight into the mix. And if he loses here, there's still a lot of fun fights. I'd like to see Pitbull stick around in the UFC for a few fights here. I think Yair is a tough fight for anybody. I think he's one of the best guys in the division outside of Volkanovski and a couple of others. I mean, he could probably beat most of the top contenders in the featherweight division. Yair's also looking crazy in shape right now. Did you guys see him on the countdown talking about that? He is looking absolutely jacked going in here. And obviously, he has big things coming up for him too. Obviously, with the big fight, potentially Diego Lopez, if he wins this weekend, as I've got my stream almost going. Man, internet here in Australia. Absolutely brutal. So we've got big things on the lookout for Pitbull. I've been talking to people actually in between fights, on MMA Fighting, on the live submission radio show. What would Pitbull's career look like if he came to the UFC in his prime? Would he have been a champion? I don't know. That's the question. I think it's good to see him at least come in and finish out his career here. And I would love to see him fight Alex Volkanovski, man. If Alex Volkanovski wins, him versus Pitbull, can you imagine a fight like that? Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. We're going into the big fight here. Massive, massive implications as we prepare to see Pitbull take on Yair Rodriguez. And one of those fights where you're just happy that the fight happened before Pitbull retired. It's just great to see him in the UFC. Of course, throw your questions in the question chat below. I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. James Lynch will be back in a minute. He's just doing an immediate reaction on his channel. Please jump on YouTube and make sure you support James as well. The guy's been doing it for a really long time. He is one of the guys that sort of started out with us in the sport, still bringing great stuff through the channels and all sorts of different outlets. He's going to be back in a minute. And a quick reminder for everybody out there as well, live reaction show with Dan Hooker. Man, can you imagine that? That's going to be wild. Getting Dan Hooker's thoughts on some of these fights. Obviously, very close with Alex Volkanovski, as well as James Lynch makes it back into the feed.
What's up, man? I'm back.
It's great to have you back.
Yeah.
A few questions here.
Yeah, let's keep the questions coming, everyone. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate it. So, yeah, man, by the way, I've had so many stories about internet cutting out and like you name it. Like, you know, I've been doing these remote things for a while, so I can only imagine what you were going through. But I remember having I forget which interview it was, but it was like a big interview and it went out and it was like, I like figure out. I think I don't know what happened, but I was like, oh my God, because it's the worst feeling ever. I'm sure this has happened to you a couple times in interviews, right?
Dude, it's a killer. And you do a lot more live stuff and all of that than me, but I think, no matter what your setup is, if you don't have the internet, you can't get it done. And
no, I'm even debating. I'm not even joking. Like my wife and I were talking about this. I might even I might get a generator sometime just in case. Cause I'm always worried about that stuff just to in case things go out. We had a big hockey. I'm sure you heard about the Four Nations during the NHL All-Star break. Yeah. And it was like a huge deal. And so the game between Canada and the US, the power went out here in the town I live in. So I ended up going to the next town over and watching it at a bar.
Are you kidding? What town are you in, man?
It's called. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but it's it's just outside of Richmond here in Vancouver where I live, and it's it's not like a small town, but the grid was out pretty good, and it was the biggest hockey game ever, and I had to run over. I was like, I can't not watch this. I'm not going to watch the replay of this. I need to watch this live. So took my wife and kids, and we went out.
I love that, man. I love that. Alan Cortez asking us, do we think JDM could pull out the upset against Bilal next month by a KO? For people that don't know, JDM training with Alex Volkanovski, a freestyle MMA, a wing dang over there. Yeah, these guys have been keeping each other sharp. He is really looking good ahead of this Bilal fight. I'll go to you first, James. Do you think JDM could do it? Bilal, very difficult to fight because he's just a strategic nightmare for most fighters in that division.
He's got a puncher's chance. That's the thing that will always carry him throughout this fight, is that he's got that knockout power. We saw it against Gilbert Burns, a fight, in my opinion, he was losing, and he ends up getting the finish at the end. He could certainly do the same thing against Bilal. People forget Bilal does have a knockout loss. I believe you were at that card. That was the Conor McGregor and Eddie Alvarez card in New York, where Bilal got knocked out by Vicente Luque on the prelims, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So it has been done before, but we'll see. The thing that worries me with Jack, obviously, is the layoff, the lack of wrestling, and the, obviously the injuries too. He hasn't fought in a bit. So, but yes, to answer your question, can Jack win? Of course. I think anyone in most cases can win a fight, but I think a lot of stuff favors Bilal. I think Bilal likely wins a decision, but JDM's got a puncher's chance.
I think the thing with JDM as well is he's largely untested and he's a bit of a dark horse. So I think Bilal is getting ready for JDM, but we haven't seen the best of JDM. I know he's coming back from all these injuries, but yeah, like you mentioned, the puncher's chance thing, that's real. He hits hard. And I think him training with Alex Volkanovski going into that fight with Bilal, that's a pretty good training partner to have. I know Craig Jones there as well. These guys are going to be doing a lot of drills together, getting ready for Bilal. It's just going to come down to, can you keep the mindset the right way as Bilal is sort of keeping you up against the fence, grinding your way at you. sort of using all the veteran skills that he has to beat you. But I will say that I think in the first couple of rounds, JDM could pose a real problem for Bilal. Let's see. Also, Bilal coming back from that weird infection. So we wanted to cut off his pinky toe. So a lot on the line here. It's going to be very, very fascinating to see if JDM is able to do it. And of course, he hasn't really thought about it, but Islam waiting in the wings if he does get it done. You know what I mean? Some big money, big fights here if he can get it done. As Dean says, Craig Jones is the best, especially the names of Chitoro videos. Yeah,
People
Jones
love him too, man. Like I see the views on like anything that's Craig Jones related. That stuff is like gold right now. There's certain, I mean, you and I both pay attention to this stuff, but man, like if I was more into like the jiu-jitsu scene, I'd be interviewing that guy all the time.
Well, he doesn't really do interviews. And the funny thing with Craig Jones is he actually originated here from Melbourne, from a couple of fight teams that I was involved with, even early on. So I've seen him sort of develop behind the scenes for a really, really long time now. Absolute MMA is sort of where he was repping here for a while with Lockie Giles, both guys legends at ADCC. And now he's doing some crazy stuff with this tournament, the CGI. He's got Gable Stevenson, who is going to be versing next. Like he's very, very clever with his media. He kind of owns all of his own content. He doesn't really allow people to come and cover it. He does his own stuff with it. And yeah, I was lucky to go out with him and Sydney and those guys party on a different level, man. I don't have what it takes, James. I don't have what it takes to hang in there with that guy. But yeah, he's huge, man. He does bigger numbers than most MMA fighters now.
That's true. As Yair Rodriguez is walking to the cage right now. Pitbull's already in there. By the way, this is so weird for me. Like I remember watching Pitbull's very first fight in Bellator against a Canadian guy by the name of Will Romero. And he submitted him in like a minute or whatever. And just to see him in the UFC now, so it's like Bizarro World. It's like seeing Wario in the Mario Brothers game. You know, like it's just weird because like you know I've always thought of Pitbull as a Bellator guy. Always, you know, like it's you know.
Yeah. Hey,
good for him.
What's that t-shirt that you're wearing? Streets of Rage. Look at this.
Yeah. Don't you remember that game back in the day, Sega Genesis?
Yes, that's right. I love it. I love it.
Good. Yeah, I got to shout out my retro stuff out there. I still play my retro games, so that's good.
And I know you love your golf, man. So I decided to. I know the Masters.
Oh, love it. Oh, dude, I need that shirt. I'm putting that on my list. I want that shirt.
We're doing a shirt exchange after this, man. Let me send you one.
Yeah.
Just to thank you.
From The Simpsons. Where did you get that shirt?
I had it made, brother. And you know what? I wore this shirt when my kid was born. So it's a special shirt. I only break it out for special occasions, of course. Nothing.
Oh, wow. Well, I appreciate that. You know, when my son was born, Landon, my oldest, I wore that. I had that George St. Pierre Home of Fight shirt. I still have the shirt. And every year for his birthday. Yeah, I do. And so every year for his birthday, because I was holding him like this when he was born, I actually like lift him up now. Like every year I'm going to try and do that as long as I can lift him up. So it's kind of like a joke. So we try and recreate the photo basically.
Okay,
he'll be 8 this year, by the way. That's how old I am.
Oh, dude, I can't believe you got an 8-year-old. Congratulations, man.
Well, thank you. Yes, I had sex. It was great. Anyways, Yair Rodriguez is walking back and forth. Yeah. Yair Rodriguez. Yeah. Tail the tape now. Yair Rodriguez, 32. Pitbull, 37. Could the age be a difference? 5'11 to 5'6. Yeah, 71 to 67 reach.
What is Pitbull's way to win here, do you think, James? This is a guy that... He's got some crazy.
He's got good power, but he finished Jeremy Kennedy, right? Like that was this big win, like recently that he had. But that's easier said than done against Yair. This is a guy that a lot of fighters have gone the distance with. So I don't know, like that's what I mean. I think Yair's probably, I hate to say it, I think Yair probably decision. I don't know if we'll see a finish, but we'll see. He's another guy, Pitbull, where age might come into play. We'll see. This is also a guy that knocked out Michael Chandler, by the way. Like that's impressive.
And still hates Michael Chandler, by the way.
I know it's great.
Cannot stand him. Just always telling him people to kick his ass and like giving Paddy all the tips to try and beat him. Isn't that funny how with Michael Chandler, even though he's kind of like a nice guy, he does a lot of like cool talks. It seems like a lot of fighters that fight him actually hate him afterwards. Like they don't have a good relationship with him because of various things that have happened in the fight that they feel like was cheating. And Pitbull just does not like him. I think that it's interesting here because he knocks people out of shots that wouldn't normally knock people out, right, James? Like people will be coming in and he'll catch them with like a jab or like a very, very average looking two that just swings past their ear and they go out, man. They go out. Like it's just knockouts out of nowhere. Whereas Yair, he's kind of one of these guys that can just explode. Just head kick you out of nowhere, jump off the fence, a little bit of an Anthony Pettis in that regard, but also a couple of dangerous submissions of his back, very, very quick. Pitbull, dangerous guillotine, man. If he jumps on that, like, he catches people with that. But I'm just curious to see what he's going to do to try and close that distance with the Yair, right? Because this is a tall guy who has great striking, light on his feet. You'd think, I agree with you. You'd think Yair should win here, especially being 32 and being in his prime. Physically, he hasn't looked better. He's actually got a bit of muscle here. But I'm just curious to see what Pitbull has to offer, man, at this point in his career.
And listen, you won't meet a nicer guy in the sport than Patricio Pitbull. I've seen 2 of his fights live at the Forum when he was fighting for Bellator. Really good dude. Like, it's just great to see him in the UFC because he's a guy that, if you're a hardcore, you know Patricio Pitbull. It's good to see him in there. I like Yair as well. My issue with Yair, just inconsistent. He can't seem to get over that hump. It's like when he gets that big opportunity, he gets the title shot with Volk, can't capitalize. So we'll see what's going on here. By the way, just 2 fights ago, Pitbull fought at 35. I do wonder if the size and strength difference will play into this. And last thing I'll say, if Pitbull pulls off the upset here, does he get the Michael Chandler treatment and maybe gets a featherweight title shot, possibly over Movsar Evloev, who they don't seem to be too keen to give him a title shot? So we'll see.
Let's have a look here, because that's a discussion for us to have after this. Let's see if he does win, how it happens. Now, both guys are out here, and James, I'm at 426. I'm at 428.
It's like literally like a couple seconds difference.
So
that's fine.
What do you make of this? They're both kind of posturing here. They're both trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't like this too much, but I get it as well. Like, you want to feel each other out. And if you're Pitbull, you're probably looking to counter, possibly. Although you're fighting a guy who's got a longer reach than you, right? If you're Yair, why aren't you firing off here? Oh yeah, he just cracked Pitbull. Well, just hit Pitbull there.
But now they're back to it, and it's almost like they're just waiting for the other guy to make a mistake.
It's like when it's like when you're playing Street Fighter and both people put the controllers down. That's what it reminds me of, right?
Dude.
A little bit.
So yeah, this is interesting, man. And again, I got to say, Yair looks in great shape here, man.
He does,
He looks very, very good. It's almost like he's hitting his prime physically. He was talking about it in the countdown. He's seeing things in the mirror he hasn't seen before.
And this is another key fight too, because if Yair wins, I mean, you saw the presser leading up to this. Like if Lopez wins and Yair wins, that 100% is happening at UFC No Change.
Oh baby, that's the fight. And by the way,
because that's the fight they wanted initially. My understanding was they tried to book Yair and Lopez, and I don't know, something happened, and then they ended up going with that. But anyways, Rodriguez with a nice kick there. He's really utilizing those leg kicks a lot, and that's the way you got to do it. You're fighting a smaller guy, use the kicks. That's probably your way to do it.
But is it just me, or is it Rodriguez going in here kind of almost a little bit hesitant because he knows what Pitbull can do? Like he doesn't. It looks like he
respects the power of Pitbull for sure.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get countered, man. That's what it looks like. He's very, very strategic here, and he's using his kicks to keep Pitbull at bay, so he can't get in the pocket and swing. It's just very, very fascinating. And I mean, you could see a scenario here where Yair could just beat up that front leg of Pitbull and just land some teeps and kicks and sort of win a couple of rounds here, right? He's just waiting for people to rush in. Until then, it looks like he's just chilling, knowing that he's got this reach advantage. Fascinating.
But this is good by Pitbull. This is your debut. He's not looking too nervous. He's just, again, maybe not the most appealing thing, but you gotta deal with this. And I know Jeremy.
Oh, see that? Jumping head kick right there. Blocked by Pitbull.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and this again, Pitbull's like he had good opposition in Bellator. I mean, this is a guy that's, like I said, been in there with Chandler, been in there with a lot of the good featherweight fighters. Even like a Jeremy Kennedy only really lost, I think, a fight in the UFC. And he finished him, and that was a big upset at the time. So, Kennedy's got a similar build to Yair. Obviously, Yair a lot better, but something to keep in mind that he had success in that fight.
It's interesting here what kind of reads Pitbull is making. He kind of had Yair up against the cage for a couple of seconds. Whoa. As he moves back, he's just copped a head kick from Yair, a light one, but nevertheless, it does look like Pitbull is still kind of struggling to figure out how to approach this puzzle.
How to get on the inside. That's his big thing. But he looks fast out there. I mean, he's not looking his age, and he's smiling. He seems like he's taking it in stride.
And he looks in great shape, man. He looks in great shape. All right, so the grappling exchange here, clinch. Pitbull tried to go for a trip, didn't work out here. Back on their feet. This is really a feeling out round, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think you'll see more intensity in the second, just as they're kind of figuring things out, but we'll see.
Yeah, if you're tuning in right now, we've got 1 minute left here. It's Yair Rodriguez versus Pitbull, the big debut, 37 years old. Big stakes on the line for both, man. And it has been a little bit of a stalemate round. I mean, you'd give it to Yair, right? He's landed more. He's had a few shots here and there. He's kind of controlled the octagon a little bit, but yeah, nothing significantly crazy that's happened in this round, right, James?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say so. I mean, a lot of good kicks, though, landed by here. Yair as he gets another one there. It seems to be the game plan. Pitbull's going to have to switch us up. Although, look at this.
So this is fascinating right here. So yeah, Pitbull ending up on top in half guard.
Always looks good.
Kind of controlling him. And this is going to give us a good idea of what's going to happen throughout the fight in the grappling exchanges. I think Pitbull's trying to find out, all right, can I control this guy on the ground?
So far, so good.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. I think he's found a sweet spot here in half guard. He's just kind of keeping his shoulder down on Yair's chin, keeping control up top so he can't really go anywhere. And I feel like testing the waters a little bit as the round goes on. Finishes out on top. Okay.
I mean, Yair took that round, but the optics of him being on his back at the end of the round is not good for him. I mean, it definitely makes the round closer, right?
Yair telling Pitbull off after the round. Do you see that?
I know, dude. You go and win the fight. Don't worry about that. I know he's doing the soup Nazi from Seinfeld.
Man. You're a very bad man. Giving him one of those. All right. Fascinating round. And if the fight is close.
How did you guys score that round? I think most people got Yair, but I got Yair as well.
Drop it in the comment section below and let us know. Fascinating though to see that this could be one of those rounds where if it does end up being close, you might get a judge here or there. Maybe gives it to Pitbull. You know what I mean? We've seen crazier stuff in the past. Mm-hmm. But watching it live.
That replay with the kick looked good.
Yeah, it does look like Yair was able. Okay, Naz says back of the head. So that's what Yair was complaining about here. Let's have a look. Where is the back of the head? I don't know, man. Maybe we missed it. Anyway.
If anything, it looked like he hit Pitbull in the back of the head from the back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. We're about to go into round 2 over here, guys. So far, fascinating fight. Let's go.
Yeah. We'll expect a little bit more action there. I think that very first little bit of that round was a little bit of a feeling out, and they're kind of back to it now by the looks of it. We'll see if there's any shots being thrown here.
I will say it's fascinating that Pitbull was able to get down there, control the action a little bit. I wonder if we're going to see him work towards a takedown here. He attempts a head kick, a leg kick, which was far, far away. And Yair's kind of playing with him a little bit here. A couple of taunts. Feisty Yair during fight week in Miami.
But my thing is, with him, like, he hasn't fought in a bit. Like, I don't know. I just think the optics of this, like, you got to win this fight, man. Like, this is a fight he should win. It's not really the time to be doing that unless he's just trying to get in his head. But my thing is, like, you got to win this fight, man. There's no guarantees.
I feel like he's trying to get Pitbull here to kind of get emotional, I feel, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to catch him with some of these shots. Here we go. In the pocket. Man, in the pocket, Pitbull looking good.
Yeah.
And Yair still,
Anyone saying that, he's not UFC caliber, I mean, you're seeing it in this fight against a guy who's been a title challenger before in Yair Rodriguez. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it. The last win that Rodriguez had, he finished Josh Emmett in February of 2023. So it's been a while since he's tasted victory. That's what I mean. Like, you want to go out there and win the fight, So,
yeah. And look at that size difference when you look at it from side on. Isn't that crazy? A real size difference here. As Yair is able to still, and this is the thing that people need to remember. This isn't a 5-round fight.
No.
So this is pivotal stuff here, and time is passing. Pitbull is still trying to figure stuff out here. And
I'd like to see Pitbull be a little bit more urgent. I know you got to worry about that reach where Yair could maybe catch you, but he's got power. Use that to your advantage. I don't know if you knock out a Yair, but you certainly, look at when it's the end of the fight and the judges are looking at, damage and all that stuff. Like it's stuff that matters here. So I'd like to see a little bit more urgency here from Pitbull.
Yeah, me too, man. And it could be one of those situations where he turns on in the 3rd round and it'll be a 3rd round too late. And it'll be one of those discussions about, well, he really won it. And I don't really think you need to be in that conversation.
No. Oh, Pitbull going for the takedown. He gets it. That was a good takedown.
This is good, man. He's controlling the feed here on the cage as people tune in. But Yair able to get up, man.
Yeah.
Very impressive stuff. I feel like Yair is a little bit underrated, James, when it comes to his grappling. He's so good at getting up. So light. Dangerous off his back. And this is another reason why that fight with him and Lopez would be very interesting. You could talk about that matchup all day and really break that down as well. Pitbull again, man, like he just can't really seem to find that.
Yeah, he's not doing much here, unfortunately. Right? Yeah, like, expect a little bit more aggression.
And this is the thing. It's hard to fight a Yair Rodriguez, and this is why you got to, appreciate the Volkanovskis of the world who are able to go out there and make it look so dominant, right? because it ain't an easy task. It ain't an easy task.
You bring up a good point, though. There is levels in this division, and you saw what Volkanovski did to Rodriguez, and again, I don't think that was Rodriguez's best night at the office, so to speak. But the fact that this is so close, like it's again, it's showing you the levels in the division, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Pitbull was able to move forward here. James land a cheeky little shot just to show him, all right, I'm still in here, but you need more. And we're a minute and 20 seconds into the second round. I mean, left in the second round, and he hasn't really shown much, man. And this is one of those things where he might be mad at himself when he watches his back. As there's another exchange as the year is moving back, it looks like Pitbull is starting to understand the time.
Nice left there from Pitbull.
Time is moving away, but Rodriguez is just able to reset, move back. He's very composed.
I mean, Rodriguez is winning, but I don't think it's by like a wide margin right now in the second round. Like Pitbull did get that takedown. Yes, Yair got right back up, but they will count that.
Nice 1-2 there as they got close. Few kicks along the arms, not landing, but he's starting to be a bit more active and just land on Pitbull at distance, because Pitbull has quite a wide guard there, and you're able to go through the middle with a bit of crisp boxing. Pitbull goes for a takedown. Yair defends it. Pitbull's not giving up on this takedown though, James, is he? No. He's going back up.
He's like a pit bull.
Seconds.
It's my dad joke for the night. He's on him like a pit bull. You got to like the fact that he's being relentless. But I mean, if you're Pitbull, you got to go for broke in this third round, Like, and again, Rodriguez is not a slouch, but you got to give it a bit more than this, I think, if you want to, sway the judges or do any sort of.
5 seconds left to go. Yeah, you're able to reverse.
Yeah, that's huge.
Down. Dude, this is not good for Pitbull. As far as I'm concerned, we're 2 rounds down here, James.
I agree.
And going into a third, man, Pitbull's got to do something massive to try and change the minds of these judges and potentially.
Got to go Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman. Right? Yeah. He's got to do something big here. He's got to dig deep. And you got to get on the inside, and you got to not worry. And here's the other thing. I know Rodriguez does have a lot of finishes, but he's not really a power guy. Like, I think if you're Pitbull, like, take that risk that you got to, at this point, you have to. You got to know you're down 2 rounds on the scorecards. Even if you don't and you think it's close, you still got to not feel great about where you're standing right now. I hope his coaches are in the corner being realistic about this. Every time we get, every now and then we'll get coaches being like, oh, you're up, you're fine. But no, you got to go for broke here, especially in your debut. This is the one shot for Pitbull where, because he's coming over in his debut, he's got an opportunity here to maybe leapfrog other fighters in the division. Go for broke right now.
It's kind of tricky, isn't it? You got him at the press conference saying he's the best featherweight in the world. Like, the expectations are high. Yeah. And this is not kind of the performance that I guess he was hoping for. If you're in this corner right now, what are you saying to him? You're saying, dude, don't worry about it. Just get out there, get in this guy's face, either get a takedown or land some shots because you're losing this. Do you say something along those lines? Like, it's got to be something drastic here.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
All right, round 3, as we go into the final round here, we appreciate everybody in the comment section. Rodriguez and Pitbull in the third round. Rodriguez seemingly 2 rounds up, and Pitbull not really able to find enough success in this fight. James, as we start off, more of the same from Pitbull here as he's trying to figure out his best way to attack here, switching stances, but Yair switching his stances, which made Pitbull sort of second guess what he was about to do.
Yeah, and just, the thing that's very obvious in this fight is, I mean, Pitbull just looks so small. I do wonder, again, we still got 4 minutes left to, for 26 in the round, but, if he doesn't end up getting this win here, does he look at going back down to bantamweight? One of the things I asked him in my interview was that Jose Aldo fight's huge. I know Aldo's fighting Amin Zahabi, but if they could ever do that fight, imagine that Legends fight they could put together, and he'd be open to it, even though they're both Brazilian. That's a fight I think people have wanted to see for years. So not looking 4 minutes left in the round still, but, it is something to consider about him maybe going to a new weight class. Does look small.
That's a fight that makes sense, man. I mean, it's like you got both guys. Why not make that fight happen? It just drives me insane, Aldo, and the booking that he's gotten. You got a legend hanging around. Make the most of him. Yair Rodriguez pushing the action now, and I think he's figured out that if he keeps a distance and resets and is able to work off his lead kick and his jab, that Pitbull is really just struggling to get to him. Yair's boxing. Spinny elbow as he moves back to the cage. And then back. He resets. Okay,
this is much more action-packed. This is more of what we want from Pitbull. He's being aggressive, but he's got to be careful. Like you said, those weapons that Yair has at his disposal, you got to be careful. Look, ask Korean Zombie.
So Pitbull's kind of trying to cut off the ring here, and it looks like he's trying to work off, uppercut 2, or try to put some combination together to get in there. But again, James, same story. 3 minutes left now. And looks like a little bit, maybe of a low hit there.
We see the striking stats there. 22 headshots for Yair Rodriguez, 10 to the body, 16 leg kicks as well. So he's far ahead on the striking stats, and that doesn't surprise me at all. Oh, nice right there, though, by Pimblett. But yeah, just Yair hasn't really been in any dangers this fight. Oh,
did you see that?
Except for that left. Oh, Pimblett down.
All right, so guys, Pitbull is down, and Yair is in his full guard. It looks like he's not completely out, but he's kind of closed his guard on Yair with 2 minutes and 29 seconds. I mean, this does not help his chances at all of winning his fight. As far as I'm concerned, he's going to have to catch submission here or something crazy in order to win. Yair is so active inside that guard, though, James. Throwing elbow after elbow. He is beating Pitbull up, and Pitbull just opened up his guard, try to move up, try to clinch Yair, pull him down chest on chest into his full guard. But Yair would not have it, man. He's throwing crazy elbows, and he is beating Pitbull
He's
up.
going for broke. He's going for broke here. He's trying to get it done.
How impressive is his ground and pound from Yair?
Very impressive, yeah.
A guy who is, dangerous in Pitbull, but he is just throwing everything by the kitchen sink at Pitbull here.
I agree. Just makes me think, man, it's too bad AJ McKee's not in the UFC. This is a guy that, did quite well. I know he lost that second fight to Pitbull, but you'd like to see some more youth in there. I know PFL's you can't give away everyone, but you do wonder. Pitbull's kind of the older guy here, but very, very good performance here from Yair Rodriguez. And like I mentioned, last one was 2023, so this would be very big for Yair. Although Pitbull trying to go for that armbar.
Yeah, almost had it too, didn't he?
Yeah, look at this.
Yair showing his expertise when it comes to the grappling. He is just so composed in there, isn't he, James?
Mm-hmm.
He's able. Look at him. So for people that don't know, this is really high level. He's able to find the right positions to land his shots. He's able to work out of bad positions if he needs to. And now he's working for what looks like a leg lock here, James.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, working for a leg lock here. And of course, very difficult to get. Not really something. It looks like a heel hook to me. Very difficult to lock this one in, right, James? Like, this is not really a great submission to go for if you're losing a fight, but if you're winning a fight like Yair here, like, what do you have to lose? You can stalemate Pitbull in 40 seconds in this position as he carefully navigates getting out here and figuring out how to do that. It doesn't look like Yair has it. It looks like Pitbull's going to get out of it. But again, we're down to 26 seconds. Pitbull is up. All right, so we got 23 seconds here for Pitbull to basically knock Yair out, or he is losing this fight.
Yeah, he's going to lose a decision. I mean, I hate to say it. I love Pitbull. Don't think you're getting your Leon Edwards moment, unfortunately. But hey, listen, good effort, but we kind of knew this was going to happen. Yair, a little bit too big, a little bit more skilled.
Dude, you predicted this, James. You said it was going to be a 3-round decision.
Yeah, probably a decision. Yeah, just because, Pitbull, he has been finished before, but Rodriguez, he's not really like a power puncher. He's not really like a submission ace, so to speak. I know, again, he finished Emmett, and the Ortega fight was more of an injury, but I mean, I remember him going the distance with Jeremy Stevens. Good fight, but kind of what we expected. I do wonder what Pitbull's future's at 45, though. He did look a little small here. Like I said, maybe something to keep an eye on is him maybe dropping down, although you're 37 and dropping down a weight class, never a good idea, but we'll see. Worked out for Aldo.
Dude,
so you see Captain Eric in the corner of Patricio Pitbull. So
Captain Eric actually promising something big if Pitbull wins. I wonder what that would have been. But, the guy deserves his respect. He's been in the corner for a lot of big guys. Very interesting, fascinating coach as we look at some of the replays here. James, as we go to the decision for Yair, I mean, what do you do with Pitbull? You mentioned maybe moving down. But, I mean, also there's just so many fights in that featherweight division. Like, you've still got Aljamain Sterling floating around. You've still got Lorne Murphy floating around. You've still got, Josh Emmett floating around. I mean, we just did have Silva win a big fight against Bryce Mitchell. Do you set up a Pitbull Silva fight and give him another big name, as you lead him in? What do you think? You could. I think, so if we're pretending that he's going to stay at featherweight, which, certainly is likely. I mean, you just lost to the number 5 guy, so you give him someone outside of that. It's got to be someone that's fighting recently. That's another thing that when it comes to matchmaking, we've got to factor in. Like, an Arnold Allen hasn't fought in a while. I don't think that's something that really makes sense. Lerone Murphy definitely deserves a top 5 here. In fact, you could probably do Lerone and Yair now, and that might be a fight that would press the action more. That was the big complaint with Murphy in that fight with Emmett, said he couldn't do it. I'm kind of looking right now, if I just had to go off the top of my head, maybe the winner of David Onama and Giga Chikaze would be kind of a fun fight there for Pitbull. You'd be a stand-up, right? The winner of Chikaze and Onama are both stand-up
stand-up guys. That kind of fits the mold here with Pitbull. I think that makes sense. Other than that, like I said, I wouldn't mind him fighting Aldo at some point and cash that ticket if you can at 135, or maybe Aldo comes back up to finish his career if things don't go well at bantamweight. But we're waiting for the official decision, as Mike Goldberg used to say.
Here we go. We're waiting for that official decision. Yair Rodriguez, man, could not be in a better spot. What about this guy's career? 32, now back in the title picture, especially if Diego Lopez gets it done. If you're the UFC, how do you not capitalize off that press conference going into Mexico?
Yeah. No, of course.
And making Lopez. I mean, that is just shooting fish in a barrel for the UFC. And I know we got
it's easy promo and
people out here, but come on. You can't not make that fight if that's the deal, right?
No, they want to do that. And listen, when you get organic, beef that is, formulates, the UFC keeps an eye on it. Let's not forget, John Silva called out Bryce Mitchell after his last win. He ends up getting the fight. Look what happened tonight. The UFC does listen to that type of stuff. So there's, especially that Mexico is such a big market for them. They got the PI there. Absolutely, they're going to do that fight next if Lopez wins. It's almost guaranteed. If Lopez wins, though, that's a big if.
We've got the post-fight interview. Let's see what Joe says.
Yeah. Call out Lopez.
Talking about how good Pitbull is with his distance and how tough of a fight he is, basically, Joe.
Hey, I'll just turn down my volume because you're like 3 seconds ahead, so I can hear you.
He's good. Just giving him respect, which is what you like to see after a fight with a legend like this.
Hunter Gamble, without over the phone, he promised me, he said, if you win your next fight, title shot is next.
Here we go. So he's calling out the title shot for Mexico, like you and me said.
Yeah.
He wants the title there. He wants to fight Lopez, and he's basically doing everything that Dominic Reyes effed up in his promo.
Yeah, that's true.
He wanted to fight. He's got a hot fight on his hands.
Mm.
Okay, what he did differently here to prepare.
Fought a smaller guy. Fought an easier opponent.
So yeah, he's crediting his nutritionist, and you got to be honest, James. Looking at his physique,
he looked in great shape.
He looks great, and he actually the energy, the lightness on his feet, the way he was able to move, get out of those dangerous positions, stay a distance. Nutrition makes a big difference here. You and me both know. As middle-aged dads, how important it is.
Yeah, what's your secret, man? You're looking good these days. You've been cleaning up the diet? Are you talking to Casper? Because you look really lean, man. You look great.
Thanks, brother. After he's just thanking his family. I'm going to break down exactly how many calories I take in and what I eat to everybody after this. How about that as we wait for the next fight? Yeah, he's just thanking everybody in Mexico. Joe Rogan's congratulated him. And if you're Yair Rodriguez right now, you just have to say, well, how impressive is it for a young guy to come into the UFC like a Yair Rodriguez and be able to work through this many runs in the division, and now he's off to another title shot. Usually we see people come in, they get beat up, they lose, they get spat out, they deal with all the issues outside of the octagon, the fast cars, the women, the drugs, whatever. Yair, man, technically 32, is looking the best he's ever looked. And it's funny because we were just having this conversation before he has this title shot with Alex Volkanovski, right? And then you think, all right, this guy's done, and now he's back again. So congratulations to Yair, man. He's really doing it the right way. But hey, I want to. You look great as well, man. You look great as well.
I need to lose some LBS, but it's diet at the end of the day. But but for me, my big thing that I've been doing for a while is I exercise every day. Like whether it's go for a walk or go for a run, like I do that. But diet's a big one. It's tough sometimes with my schedule with both my boys, but it's that's I can tell you're probably on a really good diet because that's really what it's about. So abs are made in the kitchen, in case people don't know.
Yeah, 100%. So genetically, like when we used to cover the events, I was like almost 100 kilograms. Like I would work out all the time, but I was a bit of a steam train. And when I had the kid, I thought, look, I got to drop down a little bit just as I'm getting older. So what I'm doing now, man, is I'm just sticking to 1,600 calories a day. So around the 1,600 calories a day mark, I intermittent fast up until lunchtime, and I'll just count my calories. And Casper's been sort of telling me about this for a long time. As Casper's got a personal training background. He actually did personal training with Buddy Murphy from the WWE.
Oh, no way.
Did their course together here. Yeah. And I played footy with Buddy Murphy a few times here, Australian.
You name dropping here. I love it.
Yeah. And this is the thing, man. It's all, for me, I find it's all about the calories. I've done all of it where like I've tried to reduce my carbs. I've tried to work out heaps. I actually work out less now. And all I
Yeah.
just make sure is I take in 1,600 calories and I do like a 10-minute run 4 days a week on top of my gym workout, which is like a light lift. And then I'll do like the wrestling training. I recommend for everybody out there, if you can, cut out the sugar. My biggest problem is cutting out alcohol and sugar. And if I'm drinking alcohol now, I'll try to just limit it to one night during the week, because if I drink every single day, just 2-3 beers a day, destroys my sleep and it just puts me up over that few hundred calories, and that's what kills me, and I just get all bloated out and effed up. So, but dude, you
There we
look
go.
great.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Yeah, I do. The walking's been the big one for me, like, because there's sometimes I don't want to go for a run, or I don't, like, the gym's not open on time and I need to get something in earlier. So I'll just go for like a walk, put a podcast on. That's been a big help. And I cold plunge every day too. That's been a big thing for me.
I hear cold plunge is
cool.
A big deal. I got one of those portable saunas in my backyard.
I got one too. I got the sauna box.
I love that, man. I love those portable saunas. I think
good. You have a tough day, go in that sauna, melts all your worries away.
I chuck a podcast on the wireless speaker there. Might check out one of your interviews or maybe one of the Morning Combat guys and sort of catch up on what's going on. And dude, it's the best. But for everybody out there, just when you have kids or as you get older, just please take a moment to yourself. It's so important. I know, like, we carve out time to do all the sorts of stupid stuff throughout the day. Just carve out 30 minutes to go to the gym, 10 minutes to go for a walk on the treadmill or go for a run, and just be kind to your body in terms of the sugar content and the alcohol that you're taking in. And I really recommend intermittent fasting, man, because it just keeps you sharper throughout the day. Just try to do that. I like to drink black coffee. If people can reduce the milk, get on black coffee, before you know it, you guys will be down. So I'm about 79 kilograms now, James. So
you know what I put in my coffee, by the way? I know this is turning into a health podcast. I put creatine in there every morning. That's a good
beautiful.
Yeah, so creatine and a bit of collagen, because it's more effective if it's in hot substances. So that's something I've been using too.
Dude,
I'm going to hop off here for 1 second before this next fight goes on, but I'll be back on shortly.
Let's do it. And for everybody out there, as James pops up, jump on his channel right now. His live reaction's happening. We'll see you in a minute, James.
Cool. See you, buddy.
Enjoy, my friend. Big fight coming up next. All right, guys. So it's the big one. It's the fight that the UFC have been pushing. This is the face of the embeddeds. We are about to get into Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler. And I want to find out from you guys who you think is winning. I just can't believe that we've got Paddy Pimblett in this position, right? He came into the UFC. He came on Submission Radio, spoke to me and Casper when he first came in here, discussed how he could beat Tony Ferguson, which he did, discussed how he could be a future champion, which he is now on the road to becoming. Michael Chandler is next. And although Michael Chandler is older, man, you cannot discount the fact that this veteran is a dangerous, dangerous fight for Paddy Pimblett. I want to find out from you guys who you think is going to win. I got Dean D here saying it's Paddy time. And I feel like that has been the discussion throughout the week. Everyone that I've spoken to, I was on MMA Fightings, Between the Links. I was talking to Mike Heck and Chuck Mindenhall on the podcast on here, Submission Radio Live this past week. People are picking Paddy Pimblett to get it done. As I'm looking through the comments here, Paddy, look at this. Alan Cortez, make or break time for Paddy Pimblett. You couldn't be more right, Alan. Right now, Paddy Pimblett is in the most pivotal fight of his career. Let's break it down for just a second. If he beats Michael Chandler here, if he's able to submit Michael Chandler especially, or stop Michael Chandler, right, as we have a second round sub prediction, I'm guessing, for Paddy Pimblett. If he is able to get it done in an impressive fashion, man, the sky is the limit for him. We've had people speculate, people like Mike Heck, friend of the show, Jed Meshew, people talking about, hey, maybe the next big fight over there is Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria for the interim title. Maybe Islam moves up a division, frees up the title. Maybe these guys mix it up next. For Paddy Pimblett, the UFC could not push anyone harder. If he wins here, it is going to be absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. I'm talking about not quite a Conor McGregor level massive, but just under that. Like, he has the capacity to be the next massive, massive star that the UFC needs. Shannon Bailey, I feel like this could be a breakout fight for Paddy. Right on, man. That is exactly true. This is the fight that Paddy needs. This is the fight that Paddy's been working for. Make no mistake about it. This is the fight that Paddy has thought about when he came over from Cage Warriors and was thinking about the UFC. Shout out from Adelaide, Paddy by KO. Justin, I don't know about that. I'm about to break down the fight. I'm about to talk about it, but I don't know. Do you guys think that Paddy Pimblett can do it? Do you think he can knock out Michael Chandler? Look, let's break it down just for 1 second before James Lynch comes back in here. Paddy Pimblett has a wide stance. We've seen him in there against guys like Tony Ferguson. We've seen him in there against guys like King Green, for example. And he hasn't exactly looked like the biggest world killer. It looks like he's improved, but when he moves back, he's got his chin up and he's got that lead leg out. So you could leg kick low, you could set up an entry into the pocket, and you could land on him as he moves back. Now, Michael Chandler is extremely dangerous in the pocket, guys. We know that he moves forward. We know that he lands shots hard. We know that he hits hard. So I'm guessing right here, Michael Chandler is going to try and kill that distance straight away, land on Paddy's chin. The question here is going to be, and this is what we're all interested in seeing, and we know those weight cuts are tough for Paddy Pimblett, but he's cleaned things up ever since he's had his kids. He said he's taken things more seriously with his diet. How much damage could Paddy Pimblett take before he can counter Michael Chandler, get into a scramble position, and potentially take his back? How much damage can Paddy Pimblett take? That is going to be a big question here. How many shots can he take from Michael Chandler? Now, we've seen Chandler drop Charles Oliveira, Dan Hooker, countless others with those shots. Can Paddy Pimblett take those shots, have the experience and understanding to still utilize his grappling ability and submit Michael Chandler? Or is Michael Chandler finally in a place in his career where he can strategize correctly, where he can use his skills effectively and kind of not let a big win like this get away from him? I mean, there are some big things. There are some big questions here. Another one from Alan Cortez. I definitely do give the speed advantage to Paddy. Fascinating. I mean, when I see Paddy throw his shots, technique's not quite there, doesn't turn over his hand well, doesn't tuck his chin, doesn't have the foot movement that I would like to see from him. He doesn't have the danger of a Conor McGregor that can counter with real power. Very fascinating stuff, but he is younger and he's developing in front of us, right, Alan? So we don't know. Maybe perhaps he is faster now. I will say that with Paddy Pimblett as well, I mean, we've spoken about the fact that he's filled out. Yeah, he looks really physically impressive at this weight class now. A big guy. Justin DL, Chandler has no neck to submit. It's fascinating. We've seen Dustin Poirier do it. And, Luke Thomas pointed it out at our preview show. But, Charles Oliveira wore him. It was a backpack on him. Michael Chandler wore him like a backpack, was jumping up and down, up and down, up and down. Where is the intersection for Chandler between entertaining this crowd in Miami, his hometown crowd, because, he trains over there with Henry Hoop, or staying vigilant, keeping that chin tucked, making sure you're working out of that position? If someone's got your back and you're jumping up and down with them like a backpack, that is not the right thing to do. Will he be doing that today? I know Donald Trump's there. He's going to be trying to impress people. I mean, that is the real question as James Lynch joins us back on the show. For everybody out there, James Lynch doing the live reactions fight by fight. Please go on his channel and check out those reactions. If you haven't had a chance to do it after this, make sure you jump on. A lot of really great stuff, James. I can't wait to check those out myself, actually. I'm a little bit intrigued to see what happens. And, of course, you're doing a post-show after this.
But watch this one first. We got to support Submission Radio #1. You got Dan Hooker on there, a lot better than me, and then you can watch mine after. So there you go. It's all good.
That's right. You'll be answering people's questions live.
Of course, yeah. It's mainly a Q&A. Like I call it a post-fight show, but it's mainly just you guys. I always tell the viewers, it's your show. You drive it. We'll see what happens. As Paddy Pimblett's doing one of these in the cage right now, but it's going to be a fun post-fight show. Do about an hour and a half, something like that. So.
Beautiful. Now let me ask you this, man. Paddy Pimblett's out there. This guy is over, man. I was talking about it to the comment section just before. I wouldn't say it's Conor McGregor level, but I would say it's right under there, man. Like I'm getting those feels that this guy, if you look in the crowd right now, people absolutely love this guy. My question to you, who do you think is going to win this fight? What is your prediction here, James?
I think Michael Chandler wins this fight. And I know that's unpopular.
That's what I've been saying.
Here's why. I'm going to summarize this as quickly as we can because I know the fight's starting here soon. I think people are severely overrating that win over Bobby Green. I think Bobby Green walked into that submission and people are acting like he submitted like some really good fighter. And I just don't get that. And we're only a couple fights removed from him losing to Jared Gordon. Chandler does not fight smart, but here's the thing. People talk about his bad fight IQ. It's because he brawls with guys. If he brawls with Paddy, he's going to be okay. Paddy, as Dennis's internet goes out again, maybe I can talk a little bit longer. Oh, he's back. He's back. There we go. Oh no, you're good. You're just making sense. Yeah, no, I just think that people talk about Chandler having bad fight IQ, but the bad fight IQ is that he doesn't wrestle in his fights. He doesn't need to wrestle here. I think he can beat Paddy in the stand-up. I've seen numerous fights of Paddy, and maybe that's something he's cleaned up. Him getting hit. Luigi Vendramini hit him in his debut. He rocked him a bit. Like, he gets hit. He's not fought a power guy like Michael Chandler before, and you saw what he did to Dan Hooker. We've seen him knock guys out. If he connects within these 5 rounds, it's over. I think he beats Paddy. Now, I see a lot of people saying Paddy can submit him. I think that only happens if Chandler can't knock him out early and he somehow gets tired. But you also got to favor Chandler with 5-round experience. This is a guy who's champion in Bellator. I know Paddy's got 5-round experience from Cage Warriors, but it's not the same as fighting in some of these bigger shows. So I think as long as Chandler keeps this fight upright, and you got to consider too that, yeah, he got completely destroyed by Charles Oliveira. I think Oliveira would do the exact same thing to Paddy, personally. I don't think Paddy's there yet. Could be totally wrong, but I think Chandler he's going to knock out Paddy Pimblett. I think it's going to happen. We'll see. But I can also see a world where he doesn't fight great and you're just going, and then Paddy gets him to the ground and submits him again. He's got a good ground game. I'll give Paddy that, but I think I'm going against the grain here. I think Chandler gets it done.
Dude, I couldn't agree with you more. And I was going to say, even in the King Green fight, and this is the thing, right? Like, I just haven't seen that moment from Paddy Pimblett where I've seen enough improvement where I think he's going to be able to hang in there with Michael Chandler on the feet. Even in that King Green fight, King Green was able to land teeps and leg kicks and all sorts of things before that fight even hit the ground. And also, what about the fact that with Tony Ferguson, like, Ferguson came back at one point in that fight. Even though Paddy was able to dominate him, he moves back with his chin back. He's got a wide stance, but no real power behind it like a Conor McGregor. He can't really catch people coming in. And Chandler kills that distance, gets in the pocket and lands power. I told everybody in the comment section, a big question is going to be Paddy's durability. He's young. He does cut a lot of weight. How many of the shots can he take from Chandler? I'm talking about shots that have stopped legends like Dan Hooker, shots that have put down Charles Oliveira, real single shots that can take people out. How many of those shots can he take? Physically, Chandler looks absolutely impressive. He is now not coming off a crazy layoff. So he actually had a couple of moments of brilliance in that Charles Oliveira fight. It looks like he got rid of a couple of things at ring rust. And also, he wore Oliveira like a backpack and jumped up and down. I know Dustin Poirier submitted him. This is a guy that can hang in there on the ground. Oh, he also has some wrestling to him. I don't know how much of it he still has, but he can positionally put himself in positions where he can control Paddy, especially if Paddy looks to work off his back. It just also depends how much strategy can we get out of Michael Chandler here. I know Donald Trump's in the building. I know this is Miami. I know this is where his gym is. I know where his people are. He's going to be doing stupid crap that it may cost him this fight. Can he finally be in a big moment, James, where he hurts a fighter like a Paddy Pimblett and capitalizes on it and win the fight because he doesn't do something ridiculous like a somersault on top of him after he knocks him down? That is the. And
you look at the age difference there, 8 years. I mean, again, fighters. Here's the thing, though. This isn't like Chandler's not sitting on the couch. This is a guy who's, being in shape. You do wonder about the durability at this stage in his career, but I don't know, man. Like this is such a weird fight for me. I really don't know, but I have such a hard time basing everything off that Bobby Green fight. Like, there's people talking about him fighting Islam after that win, and it's like, I don't know, guys. Like, I need to see more. I need to see a lot more.
And I think this is the perfect fight to do it. This is why this fight is perfect. I was talking to the guys in the comment section about this. This is Paddy's big moment. This is what he needs. This is what he was dreaming about when he was coming over from Cage Warriors. We've seen him speak about it a million times. He wants a title shot. He wants relevant fights. He wants big fights. This is his key. This is everything's been leading here for Paddy Pimblett. For Michael Chandler, though, I mean, if he loses here, James, win or lose, this is still a guy that can go out there, be on any card in a time where UFC is basically struggling, right, to make these cards work. You can put him on the apex in any main event against any sort of up-and-coming lightweight, probably for another couple of fights, Yeah. He can go out there and do his thing. He's still going to get paid what he's going to get paid. I think he's got a decent deal. This isn't really make or break for Michael Chandler. You know what I mean? Like it is for Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah, I mean, the more fights that go along that he loses, I certainly think that rope gets a lot shorter. But yeah, I mean, the UFC is going to get as much as they can out of Michael Chandler. But yeah, he loses this, especially if he gets finished. Like, I think I think we're talking about maybe like building up the new generation and giving him like similar fight to this one, but even on a lower level. Like maybe no offense to this guy I'm about to mention, but like, would it shock you at all if he gets finished here, he fights Grant Dawson next or someone like that? Or like even like Chase Hooper? Like, I don't know. Like I could see them using him as a way to, because I think the marquee fights would be gone at this point if he loses this, right? Like I think you're starting to talk about the guys that are on the come up that are trying to build their name, I think. That's kind of how I look at this.
But you know what's interesting as well? We've got this Max Holloway Dustin Poirier fight happening for Poirier's retirement. Man, if Max Holloway loses another one, you can even do something like that. You know, like there's so many legends now. Like you got your Moicanos and Beneil Dariush's and all sorts of guys. Obviously, another guy that I really like, Mauricio Ruffy, right? A guy
that fits the mold more. Actually, Ruffy sounds a lot better. You can fight Conor McGregor. You can fight a guy who's got a similar tattoo to him, right? So
yeah, exactly. So here we go.
All right, here we go. This is the fight for me. I mean, I'm very much looking forward to the main event, but this is right up there for me in interest level of all the fights that are coming up. I'm super intrigued by this.
Look at the size difference here, man. Isn't it crazy how much Paddy's filled out, how big he is for this division?
And credit to him, he looks in great shape.
So over here, it looks like Chandler's looking for a way to enter here and test Paddy's chin early. Some low
hands are up high for Chandler.
A nice low kick there.
Yeah.
This is interesting, man. I gotta say, like, regardless of Chandler's age, I'm just so impressed at how good he looks for his age. This is incredible. And the guy's been fighting forever. He still looks amazing. Look at the movement on him. He's still moving around nicely, light on his feet. He's trying to figure out an entry point here. I imagine when he gets in, he's going to swing as hard as he can. Overhand or a hook as he lands in. Probably a body shot to set up that entry.
Those kicks are landing very easily for Paddy here. Chandler's got to watch those. This is a 5-round fight too, right? So,
yes. That's a good point, actually, James. So here we go. The guys are starting to mix it up a bit.
Yeah. Oh, Paddy.
He is against the fence here. Whoa! Yeah. Look at this, James.
Yeah.
So for those tuning in right now, we're in the first
round. Whoa, nice takedown there by Chandler.
And Chandler has just taken down Paddy Pimblett. In the area that we thought Pimblett was going to be dangerous to Chandler, Chandler is showing us that championship level wrestling that he has in his tool belt. It looks like he's being a little bit more strategic here. You know, he's taking his time.
Dare I say, better IQ?
Better IQ?
Yeah.
So it's interesting here for Paddy Pimblett. Obviously, he's a master of the ground. He knows what he has to do to get up, but Michael Chandler is not making it easy for Paddy Pimblett just to scramble out of here and get back up. He's got good control over here. He's trying to drag him down. It looks like he's trying to roll Paddy Pimblett over and take side control. Now it looks like he's trying to get him back down as he gets up, potentially with a little back trip or a tiny little slam. Let's see here. Pimblett's working his elbows backwards. He's just trying to break that grip that Michael Chandler has.
It's a smart move there from Paddy.
Now, this is going to be an interesting one because when they break, Chandler may have an opportunity to throw a little shot at Pimblett as he's transitioning out of this position. I wonder if he's working on that. But look at this. He has a great grip around Paddy's waist. He goes to lift Paddy as he uses one of his legs to sort of grapevine Chandler, but he is back down in his position. Look at this, James.
Chandler's just out-muscling him here. And this is, if you're Michael Chandler, this is very good for you right here. Although Paddy getting back up again. Credit to Paddy.
Now, I do wonder, with this being a 5-round fight, how much energy is Chandler utilizing?
Yeah, keep an eye on that as the later rounds go.
Being a wrestler, I don't know, man. Like, these guys are just used to it. It's a different level. If you're Pimblett here, though, you're trying to figure out a way to get out of here. But you got to also be thinking, hey, man, this guy's grappling is not, I am not as advanced in this area. Oh, my God. Paddy Pimblett. Did you just see that, James? Paddy Pimblett.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Jumps up for a flying triangle, isn't able to get it, and has to work off his back here against Michael Chandler. Let's see what.
And if you're Chandler, you got to lay some bombs here. Like you got to start inflicting some damage.
Look at this, though. Look, they're out, and the fight is back to the feet. Wow. Yeah. This has been fascinating and not at all like we thought it would work out in this first round.
No, I think we thought more of Paddy doing that, but it's Chandler who gets him to the ground here. So Chandler controls him. Didn't do a whole lot with that position.
So Paddy Pimblett is not technically sound at all in striking. His chin is just out there. His hands are down. He is just coming in. Chandler just gave him a little taste of what's coming up. Mouth is open. Both men are taking deep breaths and after those exchanges. But if you're Paddy Pimblett here, man, you better be careful, right? Because he's
big time
forward. Moving forward.
I don't think he's fought a guy with this much power. That's where things get interesting, right?
Well, Paddy Pimblett is really sort of testing his striking here, but these shots are not looking good.
Mm-hmm.
These are arm shots. He's got no hip movement behind him. His chin is out. His arms are down. His legs, his stance is very narrow. So Chandler could come in and take him down. And he is just slinging these kind of lazy shots forward to Chandler as he lands another hook on Pimblett. And it looks like Pimblett saying,
nice
Pimblett
left there.
Is moving forward with his chin and saying, I got the medal to take your shots. Let's go to battle here, James, which is kind of wild, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But again, I think Paddy might be banking on, can he keep this pace up? Nice shots by Paddy at the end there. That's a close round.
Close round. In the comment section, let us know who you think won. This is hilarious, man. So it swung around the other way. Michael Chandler takes Paddy Pimblett down in the first round, is able to control him, ground and pound him a bit up against the fence. As they break loose, then Pimblett is able to have a little bit of success, not that much, but a little bit of success on the ground. It looks like he's trying to push the striking kind of backwards to how we thought it was going to be. That's why we love the sport so much. Who do you think won that round? I think Michael Chandler, though, controlled a lot of it. You can't go past that, right?
He got the takedowns. He did land a couple of good shots. I'd be curious to look at the striking stats. I bet they're going to be close because Paddy did land a couple leg kicks at the beginning there, landed a few good shots towards the end of that round. That's something I'm very curious to see. I'm sure we'll get those up on the website here shortly. It's not the be all end all, but one thing considering when we're looking at these rounds, if this fight does end up being close as the fight goes on. So I have a quick look myself, actually, see if they got those up yet.
It's fascinating as you have a look at that. You know, Paddy Pimblett's really invested in his low leg kicks, and it's got to be a part of their strategy here, right, James? They're hoping to take out that lead leg of Michael Chandler so he can't really shoot in or threaten with that wrestling. Also can't leap in with those shots. It's actually quite a clever strategy from his team here.
Yeah.
We're about to start round 2, and here we go. So Paddy Pimblett here, man, he's just not afraid to mix it up with Michael Chandler on the feet. And he just does what he does, man. You know, like his chin is out, his arms are down, his movement isn't great, but he's there.
Yeah,
and it looks
Chandler's
like
swinging a miss. Yeah, you can see Chandler's just trying to load up.
Yeah, Chandler's starting to work into that.
Gotta be careful though, because Paddy's countering quite well.
This has become a bit of a battle, and it's actually a very fun fight here for UFC 314 in Miami. Paddy Pimblett just running at Chandler and trying to throw shots. Just running at him, James.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Chandler kind of is a little bit overwhelmed by this.
I agree.
Now Michael Chandler is trying to close the distance. If you're Michael Chandler right now, what are you doing, James? Are you trying to get in there and land that lead hook, maybe a body shot hook? Or are you thinking about maybe taking it back down because you have so much success in the first round? Do you think about?
But he wasn't able to do a whole lot there either. I think he's got to recognize the ground game of Pimblett. You're kind of going into his world there. I would keep it up here, even though right now Paddy does look like the better striker. But I think again, you got to rely on that power. So,
yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, a lot of people. Some people actually had it as Pimblett's round. Nick Baldwin over there.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I thought Chandler won, but we'll see.
Yeah. Me too.
Let's see what Theo Vaughn thinks. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, Shannon Bailey saying it was Chandler's round. Interesting. Chandler surprised me a little bit. Yeah, both of us. He surprised me and James too. This is a very surprising
nice
fight.
1-2 there by Paddy.
So Paddy copped it in the balls just now. Man getting hit in the balls by football.
Yeah.
And this is one of those situations where it's always good to take as much time as you can.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at that replay. Always a hard one. Oh, all right. First, Michael Chandler foul of the.
Yeah, exactly. Michael Chandler's and fouls. Name me a better combination.
I mean, that is as much of a kick to the balls as you can make. That is basically the kick that he hit Tony Ferguson in the face with, but he just kicked. Yeah. And here we go. I didn't know it was his mouth guard. I thought it was his chin. Old Michael Chandler with. Doing Michael Chandler things, not really helping his narrative. But here we go again. And of course, people know statistically after eye pokes and bowl shots, guys do go on to lose rounds. It's a significant situation if you ever never had that happen to him. But you know, Michael Chandler back at it. He's trying to close the distance. And Paddy Pimblett, look at this.
Oh, nice uppercut there from Paddy.
Chandler's shooting in here.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can have more success here. Again, he got him to the ground last time, but wasn't able to do a whole lot. Now he gets him down. That's a much more pronounced takedown, but watch, Paddy's already going to get back up here. So Chandler having a hard time keeping Paddy on the ground.
And again, this is fascinating stuff. 5 rounds. So for everybody watching at home, that is a long time to fight.
A lot of elbows to the head. Chandler did not like that as he gets him down again. And Chandler's got to get tired after doing these so much. Oh, here we go. Chandler locking the hooks in.
Wow. Chandler ending up on his back working.
Oh, now Chandler's on his back. Oh, that didn't work out too well.
And this is not going to be a good position here. Paddy Pimblett looking for an arm head choke over here. And of course, the problem with this choke over here is when you're up against the fence, you have to create that distance with your hip. So he's got to pass Michael Chandler's guard, and he's got to get his hip to the other side, but he's also got to get him away from the fence in order to lock it in. So at the moment, it's not too bad. He might go for something else here. Let's see what Paddy Pimblett can do. We know his jiu-jitsu's good. Hey, James, have you noticed as well, Chandler's looking a little bit tired here.
Look at him
on the ground.
Look at the deep breaths. Yeah, kind of figured this.
This is fascinating.
Yeah, Chandler's got to be real careful here because we know Paddy does have a very good ground game. So Chandler on his back, breathing heavy. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, look at this. He's decided to just kind of go for this half guard position. And it looks like Pimblett is just looking to do a little bit of damage here, kind of elbowing his legs as he's working through to, wow. Okay, look at that. He's got his back. So Paddy Pimblett has Michael Chandler's back. We've got 58 seconds left in the second round. Yeah. And Chandler is able to sort of get out a little bit, but now Pimblett is smashing him with elbows. Look at this. And now Pimblett's going for the choke.
Is he going to get it?
All right. So Michael Chandler here has to fight Paddy Pimblett's hands in order to stop it. And he is kind of
39 seconds. We'll see if he does it.
Yeah, Pimblett's got a figure 4 across Chandler's body. He's trying to get out of it, but he's going the wrong way. You have to go typically to the other side if you want to get out of that. Now he's realized that. He's trying to rectify that. So you got to roll towards that leg where the ankle intersects. He's in a bad spot right here, but there's 14 seconds left. So it looks like he was able to survive here, James.
Yeah.
10 seconds left.
A very decisive round here for Paddy Pimblett.
A very, very decisive round. And not only that, but what kind of condition does Michael Chandler go back to the corner in? He is not looking like he's got that much energy. There's a lot of muscle on him. I don't know, man. Obviously a round to Paddy Pimblett, though.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. Although saying that, Chandler did kind of bounce right back up. I don't know how, maybe optically, maybe he's doing the DDP thing where he's just breathing heavy, but not as tired as you think. Because he got up right away after they called the whistle and walked back to the bench pretty aggressively. Or to the stool. But we'll see. But yeah, Chandler's, I mean, I don't know why he's messing around on the ground here. Like you saw, he nearly got finished there. Keep it standing. He's got to try and just land a bomb at this point.
I'm just trying to see what Henry Hooft is yelling at him. Nah, couldn't really catch it.
No, he's not. Yeah, he's not yelling.
Henry Hooft is one of those guys. He was, I asked him to come on the show this week. He kind of told me, hey, look, man, I'm like, trying not to do too many interviews. And I think one of the reasons is because he's authentically himself. I think it's one of the reasons why we love him, right? Like he's Henry Hooft will always be Henry Hooft. But when he starts yelling at the guys in their corners, man, I just cannot imagine being those fighters. It would just absolutely kill my soul to hear some of the stuff that he says to them. But
I know.
Each fighter, they work off a different cue. So maybe that works for him. Nevertheless, he's a legend with a lot of great fighters over there in Florida. So a shout out to him as he's trying to prepare Michael Chandler back in here. And yeah, Michael Chandler's pacing here. What are you expecting from this round here with Chandler? He's tried to mix it up on the ground, but didn't really quite work towards the end here. Do you think he goes back to trying to get in that pocket and land more shots on Pimblett?
Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point he's going to try and avoid the ground. At least that would be smart on his part. And it's hard though because you can see Paddy utilizing that height and reach well. Chandler's having a difficult time getting on the inside, kind of like our last fight too with Pitbull and Yair Rodriguez.
Whoa! Did you see Paddy Pimblett just run over there and just soccer kick Chandler?
Yeah. Now Chandler's bleeding off his left eye. Yeah, Paddy's looking really good here. Chandler's essentially running away right now, and Chandler's face is really bloody. But Chandler now firing with his own left. This is what Chandler needs to do. He's got to go for broke here.
Dude,
but Pimblett is outstriking him right now. Yeah. Paddy's looking really good. I will give him his marks.
Pimblett is looking like an absolute machine here. Like, you just got to give it to the guy. Technically, he's not great with a lot of it, but he's showing this heart and determination. He's not letting Chandler get away as 4 minutes and 8 seconds are left in this round, and he's already got Michael Chandler's back.
And there's 4 minutes left.
And James, we're going to see where Michael Chandler is here because he could easily give up. He can easily give up this choke here and finish this fight. But does he have what it takes to fight out of it? He's busted up. He's bleeding from the cheek. He's exhausted. Do you think he can hang in here? Do you think he's able to get out of this position?
He's done. I'm saying it now. He's done. Chandler's done.
Hey, that is a bad cut, by the way, under his eye. At least it does. It's not going into his eye, but that is just fountaining out.
I think Chandler can maybe at the bare minimum, he might be able to get out of this like position right here as the round ends. I think Paddy's going to be on his back most of this, but it's a matter of time. I think Chandler's just I don't know. I think he thought he could just control him on the ground, but I think it's backfired. You see he's slower. I just, sometimes you watch fights and you know that someone's going to lose. This is Chandler right here. He's going to lose this fight. His face is level. He's 30% on Doom right now. If you played that game back in the day with the damage on there. Not
Paddy
looking
Pimblett
good. The heart meter's low.
landing an elbow to the back of Michael Chandler's head, but hey, he punted him in the dick. So there, all's fair in love and war. And Paddy Pimblett doing very good job here controlling Michael Chandler. He's not forcing anything. He's maintaining control of the back, and he's just slowly, methodically just dismantling Chandler here, James, as we've got 2 minutes and 44 seconds left in the round. And
I'll be surprised if Chandler survives this. By the way, someone asked the cut. It was this round, I believe he got cut.
Yeah, it might have been one of those crazy kicks, right? Like maybe with the toenail or something, got him right under the eye. Someone loving the Doom.
Yeah, of course. Got to get the retro video game references. That's why I'm here for that and bad dad jokes. Yeah, Chandler's now against the fence. This is all Paddy right here. Robbie Lawler, Henry Hoof in the corner, trying to give him some advice. Now Paddy's got the choke. But credit to Chandler. He's got blood everywhere in his face. Chandler's face is hamburger helper right now, guys. It is not looking good.
This is Frank Mir versus Brock Lesnar 2 right here. And I got to say, it looks like it's done here. Paddy is just unleashing.
Yeah, they're going to stop Chandler.
It. And that's got to be a stoppage there.
This is going to be Paddy Pimblett's biggest win of his career. Yeah, hammer fists are coming down.
There we go. It looked like, Chandler.
It's over. Paddy Pimblett, second round knockout. Third round knockout. Sorry.
We got this one wrong. We felt it out. This is why
I know. I'm wrong. Totally wrong. I said to my chat, I said, I will give you full marks if Paddy knocks him out. I thought submission if he was going to win, but knockout, TKO finish, that's a very big win for Paddy Pimblett. He is definitely, listen, we got to say this for sure. This is a much different fighter than the guy who fought Jared Gordon. I mean, this looks like a very big evolution for Paddy, and full marks to him. And the UFC is going to capitalize on this. He's going to get a really big fight after this by beating Michael Chandler.
Dude, so we were talking about, Topuria, interim title fights. The UFC is getting behind this guy 120%. What about the fact that this guy went out there and just pushed the action, ran at Chandler, and basically put himself in danger just to put on a fight like that, took the shots? I mean, he just looked so impressive. You have an opportunity, if you're UFC and you play this right, to make a ton of money off this guy, right, James? Like, this guy can print money for you. He's only 30 years old. This guy can print money for you for the next, 8 years minimum, right? This is a huge win for the UFC. The question here is, though, do you put up two money cows in Topuria and Pimblett together so early, or do you try to capitalize on them separately at this point, That's a good question. I mean, the way Paddy looked tonight, like I'm fine with him fighting Topuria. I'm not saying he's going to beat Topuria, but I think that this is the type of dominant win you need to start making some noise. The other name that I was looking here on the list, I mean, you know better than me. He's coming on your show after. I mean, Dan Hooker, like that. Ooh. Yeah, you could do a fight like that now, right? Like you could. Like Paddy's earned that respect. Like it's not the fact even that he just beat Chandler. It's that he pretty much just like overtook the fight and finished. This is a huge win here for Pimblett, and it's going to set up really big fights. And now that this is what the UFC wanted, they have this huge chip now with Paddy Pimblett they can use going forward. So this is huge. Yeah, Alan Cortez going, who's next for Pimblett? I say Armin or Gamrot. I think with those fights, they're good fights, but I lean more on this whole Dan Hooker kind of Justin Gaethje kind of interim title, maybe a Topuria.
Big names like Armin and Gamrot, unfortunately, don't fit that mold, I don't think.
I think Gamrot has the ability to maybe strategically position this one out. Now, James, do you need to go do an immediate reaction?
I do, yeah. I'm gonna be off. I'll come right back on. You guys talk about the post stuff. You can describe that, and I'll be on right after. Appreciate it, buddy. I'll be back.
We'll see you in a minute, yeah. And just for everybody out there, James, just quickly go on his channel, give an immediate reaction on there. Make sure to subscribe to him as we are about to go into the Paddy Pimblett post-fight interview. And stay tuned as I break down this post-fight interview live for you guys and tell you what Paddy Pimblett says in the biggest win of his career. Here we go. Joe Rogan asking Paddy Pimblett. how it feels to do a performance like that against a man like Michael Chandler. Let's see what he says. So Paddy Pimblett saying him and his team has put in a lot of work into this performance. It was evident in that performance, by the way. Fight IQ, which is evident with those low kicks, the way that he was able to approach this. Joe Rogan saying stellar performance from Paddy Pimblett. Who does he want next? Let's see what he says. I bet you Topuria. So he just wants someone from the top 5, which is fascinating. Everybody'd been discounting him, talking crap about him. I got to say, I didn't think he was going to be able to do it, and he did it in such impressive fashion. Brings up Armin, Justin Gaethje on the screen right now. Imagine a Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett fight. That would be pretty big. And he's called out Charles Oliveira, saying he's the best submission artist in the UFC and a legend. And he said, fuck Armin, he wants to fight Charles. Listen, I got to say, between those fights, you want to see him fight Charles Oliveira, right? Over Armin. Not that there's anything wrong with Armin, but I think that there's probably the bigger fight, the more exciting fight right there. There we go. Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett just dismantles Michael Chandler with the biggest win of his career. And I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Armin is the next fight for him? I think personally, we need to see what happens with Islam Makhachev and this division, right? We don't know what's going to happen between JDM and Bilal. For all the reports I'm hearing, JDM having an incredible preparation over here in New South Wales with Alex Volkanovski's team going into this Bilal fight. From everything we're understanding, hearing from Islam's camp, he wants to move up, potentially if Bilal loses, and potentially is waiting to see what happens in that fight before he commits to anything. Do you guys see Paddy Pimblett ending up in an interim title fight if an Islam moves up? And do you do that interim title fight with someone like a Charles Oliveira, someone who's already said that they just want the title shot next and doesn't really want to fight Ilia Topuria? Where does Ilia Topuria end up then? Where do we put him? Dustin Poirier is fighting Max Holloway. Do you do a Ilia Topuria Dan Hooker fight? Do you do an Ilia Topuria Justin Gaethje fight? If that's what happens, maybe that's what you need to do. And what about this? A Charles Oliveira Paddy Pimblett fight en route to an interim title? Potentially a fight that can make Paddy Pimblett into an even bigger star. I'll tell you, man, there's a lot of big questions and a lot of big things on the line here as we prepare to go into a crazy, crazy main event. I just can't believe that Paddy Pimblett looked so good. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. We spoke about this. Michael Chandler, what is his future? 39 years old. He can still end up in a couple of big fights. I imagine we'll be seeing him as we see Shaquille O'Neal on the camera, 4-time NBA champion. Unbelievable. Who else do we got? Cooper DeJean. No idea who that is. American football doesn't really play here. But what about this? Colby Covington here with one of his mamacitas. Disappointing not to see him on the Miami card. I wonder where he ends up next as well. I'm sure we'll find out from him soon enough. Ted Cruz. Okay. We are preparing for... We've got a question here, actually. Poirier versus Paddy for the interim belt. I don't know about that. You know, I think that a fight that could actually be pretty good would be a Dustin Poirier, Ilia Topuria fight. Like, that could have been a really, really fun fight. I know they've got this Max Holloway rematch for the BMF belt apparently in the works, but I would love to see a Dustin Poirier, Ilia Topuria fight. I guess the problem is, if Poirier retires, then kind of makes this fight not as meaningful, but then I feel like Topuria can move just back down to featherweight, which is where this big main event is going to happen, and potentially a rematch of Volkanovski if he does win. But man, we've got Yair Rodriguez now ready for this potential fight with Diego Lopez if he wins. So who knows what's going to happen. For everybody who is tuning in right now, we are heading into the main event. Alex Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez positioned already for a fight with Yair Rodriguez in Mexico if he can beat Alex Volkanovski. But the question is, can he beat Alex Volkanovski? How much of a break? How much has the break? How much is the lead up? How much has this whole preparation, all this time away from the octagon, how much has that impacted Alex Volkanovski? Can you return to your physical prime after going through a couple of losses, after going through a number of difficult situations in that octagon? Is age a factor? Can you return to it? Alex Volkanovski says he can. I've spoken to his camp. I've spoken to his team. This has been one of the best camps that he's had. Physically, he's one of the best shapes that he's ever been in. Mentally, we see he keeps singing and having fun with everybody. Can he get it done against Diego Lopez? Well, I spoke to Luke Thomas and a number of analysts about it. Guys like Mike Heck, guys like Jed Meshew, guys like Chuck Mindenhall, and countless others in the industry, fighters. And many people feel like if this was old school Volk before the losses and Diego Lopez right now, there would be no argument that Alex Volkanovski would go out and stop this fight. But this is going to be the big question. What kind of Alex Volkanovski do we see here? Personally, I think that we're going to see a return of a great Alex Volkanovski who's going to be able to go out there and show us what he's made of, control Diego Lopez on the outside, position control him on the ground, and cruise himself to a dominant decision victory. But can Diego Lopez get into that pocket? Can he breach that the distance control that Alex Volkanovski has? We know that he does have a tendency to keep his chin up a little bit in the air when he moves back. No doubt he's worked on that, but what's going to happen in the pressure rounds as that happens? Can Diego Lopez capitalize on this massive, massive opportunity? In this crazy situation, well, Ilia Topuria decided to move up, creating an opportunity for Lopez to get this shot. Would he have had this shot if Topuria didn't make it? If he had to fight somebody else, a rematch with Mosa, potentially a fight with Yair Rodriguez instead of this title shot, who would have known? But he's in this position now. He's looking sharp. He's looking deadly. He's absolutely massive. I caught up with him in Sydney in person. I was impressed at absolutely how big he is as James Lynch joins us back on the program.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you.
Back in action. Yeah, I'm still performance from Paddy. Like that was good for him, man. Like that's, it's good for the division for him to do this. Cause if Chandler wins, how much longer are you really getting out of him, right? Like with Paddy winning, it really opens up. It's kind of a changing of the guard, right? Especially if Islam leaves the division, like things are really going to get wide open here, right?
I think this has been a great night for the UFC, James.
Silva
of course. Mitchell. You've got Yair now.
Even Reyes winning, he's better for that division in terms of like, them getting American guys up there. You know what I mean? Like in terms of business, right? Like who's better for the light heavyweight division winning? It's Reyes, right? So all that stuff matters, I think.
Interesting question here from Delton. He's going, if Ilya drops the belt, doesn't get the title fight, then loses to someone like a Gaethje, would that be a Cejudo-esque career blunder? I don't know, James. What do you think? It's an interesting one as well, because this is a guy that's cashed up. He's a massive celebrity in his home country. People are also questioning how many more fights he's even going to stick around for. He seems like he just wants to have some big fights, some big challenges, and he might not be around for a crazy amount of time. Do you think that this bet on himself to go up to 155 ultimately was a mistake with the division being gridlocked now, the Paddy Pimbletts of the world moving up? Or do you think this is still a good idea for him? He could have been on this card against Alex Volkanovski, right? He could have been.
Yeah, that's right.
Today.
Yeah, I think that I kind of look at this two different ways because, like, yeah, I agree. Like, if he loses his first fight at lightweight, you've missed out on this huge fight with Islam. That was one of the reasons too. I did a video on this where I'm like, this might be the time to do this if you're the UFC. If this is the biggest fight you can make, why risk it never happening? Right? Do you know what I mean? Like you could do it. You could do it right now, and yeah, he could lose, but then you could say, well, he fought Islam, no big deal. He's got another fight in there. I suppose he could lose and still get back to could get back to that spot, but it's going to be a lot harder. I do think of that, and I know it was a while ago, but that Jai Herbert fight was not very clean by Ilya, and he got dropped in that fight too. And I do wonder, as a guy who, like I said, if you go back and look on his record, he's fought at bantamweight before. I know he's had weight issues. I mean, you talked to his coach; he was very clear about how, it's tough for him to make the weight, but I know what he's doing. He's trying to have a shorter career while doing the most he possibly can, and I think that's smart. But again, that could also backfire, and you could miss out on a bunch of stuff. Because let's be honest here, he fights a Movsar Evloev, he might lose that fight, and that's really not going to look good for. There's bigger fights at lightweight, so I kind of see from a business perspective what he's doing. To answer your question, though, if he does lose his first fight, yeah, I think that really is going to be tough for him to get higher, but he's still got the knockout power. So anything.
Yeah, and I think that like this is a guy that's actually not big for the featherweight division. So he can always go off the argument of like, I went up to lightweight. That was never my real division. I gave it a go. Now I'm back down to featherweight. And then it's going to be down to, can he, beat Alex Volkanovski or Diego Lopez or whoever is the champion at that time for the belt. And if he loses that again, then maybe that does put things into question. But I think there's always an easy out, right, James? Whenever you move up a division, like Izzy moved up against Jan Blachowicz, for example, like no one really holds it against you if you can't make it happen. There's always the excuse of, listen, it's not really my division and whatever. It's just bonus, whatever happens here. So.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. More importantly, I assume you're going with Volk in the main event. You'd be a traitor to your country, would you, if you didn't? No.
Dude, I got to be honest. Like, I've been breaking down the tape on it, and obviously I got it wrong for the Michael Chandler fight. But here, I really feel like Alex Volkanovski with his break, he's looking great. He's in the right spirits here. I think that he's going to be able to control Diego Lopez on the outside. He's got long reach. He's able to sort of systematically dismantle people from the outside. I'm not a big believer in Lopez's entries. Like, he's going to really have to rush forward in order to get Volkanovski. The only moments I'm a bit afraid for in Volkanovski is we've seen him sort of back up with his chin up in the air, but apparently Joe Lopez says they've been working on fixing some of these issues going into the fight. So I'm guessing that in that area, I feel like Alex Volkanovski could win. I feel like the experience area, I still think Diego Lopez kind of just throws things to the wind and just kind of goes out there and just goes balls to the wall. I don't think that's going to really work against Alex Volkanovski unless you catch him early. And when it comes to the ground, I think that even though Lopez is dangerous, I think Alex Volkanovski has the positional control to control him. We've seen him with Ortega, obviously got caught in that team, but he got out of it. So I don't know, man. I believe that Alex Volkanovski is going to be able to go out there and win a dominant decision against a Diego Lopez, or maybe make him give up towards the end of the fourth round. What do you feel about this fight?
Yeah, I know we're in agreement here, and I know it didn't go well for us in the last fight, but there's a couple things that I think need to be or worth mentioning. So, first and foremost, I think people have to realize that Ilia Topuria probably knocks out most people in that weight class, right? And I know people are like, well, his chin's gone. Yeah, but it might not be gone because you're fighting Ilia Topuria. Like, again, Topuria has devastating knockout power. I mean, he's the only guy to knock out Max Holloway. Like, this is something we need to factor in. And yes, he got knocked out by Islam. It's up a weight class. It was a short notice fight. There's a lot of things that could have gone into that too. The other thing with Diego Lopez, yes, he is dangerous. Like Volk, these first couple rounds, I mean, it's going to be it's really going to decide the fight because obviously Lopez is either going to get a finish. I think if it goes later, you got to favor Volk. There's a theme with Diego Lopez, and that is he slows down. We saw it in the Ige fight. We saw it in the Ortega fight. And that's a 3-round fight. This is 5 rounds. Who's got the more 5-round experience? It's Volk. Volk's been in there with better guys. I think Volk's got to be very strategic. He's speaking of good fight IQ, Volk, I'd say, is one of the smartest guys out there. People forget, leading up to that knockout with Topuria, he was actually looking like it was fairly even. And I think you look at the box score and you think, okay, knockout. But I think Volk will fight smart. And I think as the fight goes longer, I could see him possibly winning. Well, I could see him winning a decision. I could also see him getting a finish here. We don't know what 5-round Diego Lopez looks like. And I think Volk will take it there. And I don't think we're that far removed from him having a pretty close fight with Islam with the full camp, dominating Yair Rodriguez, who we just saw a couple fights ago. Like, we'll see. Again, you know what the fight I always used for this year that was like I was totally wrong, and it it just goes to show that MMA is so unpredictable. Imavov and Izzy. Like, there's no way you would have told me that Imavov of all people would be the guy to knock out Israel Adesanya at middleweight, other than obviously Pereira. Strange things happen. Would not shock me if Lopez wins, but I mean, yeah. End of the day, I'm going Volk. Volk decision. That's my pick.
Strickland Izzy was one where we were there live, and I was like, "Am I seeing?"
Yeah, you couldn't have predicted that. Like, there's no even the people I had Strickland. It's like you didn't. No one knew that was going to happen.
No one. What do you think of this, though, James? Alan Cortez, the X Factor is Volk's age, I would have to say, and I think he does kind of hit a little bit on it. Luke Thomas spoke about the fact that we've had. I think historically, no one's been able to come back at Volkanovski's age and regain the
in the lighter weight classes, right? I think above classes, Bilal broke the trend because he's old. He's 36 and he's still winning. But yeah, you're not going to get the same Volk that probably fought Max Holloway a couple of years ago. I don't think that Volk's there, but I think there's enough Volk in there that could. Because here's the thing with Lopez too. Like, I'm still Yeah, he beat Ortega. That's great. He knocked out Sodiq Yusuff. These aren't the same level as the guys that Volk has been in there with. And you and I think similarly. I honestly think it's like an older generation thing that like we factor in opposition way more than the newer people do. And a lot of the newer people are like, this guy has knockouts, so I'm going to hitch that wagon. And then when they win, they're like, I told you so. It's like, no, you just like, you're not looking at the whole scale. Like normally, if you fight good competition, you tend to do a little bit better. Anyways, that's my rant for the day. You know,
Alex Volkanovski is about to walk out to the octagon. Diego Lopez.
Should mention that too.
I have to also say that Diego Lopez's striking style, I'm not 100% impressed with it. Obviously, he's dangerous moving forward, but if you watch tape on him, in between those movements, he just kind of stands there, and he's got a narrow stance, and he keeps his head down, and it's just kind of like he doesn't really have that movement in between his attacks. In order to sort of avoid all the leg kicks and the jabs and the things that are going to come at him, with Alex Volkanovski sort of trying to feint and keep him at distance and slowly beat him up at that distance. He doesn't really have the kind of weapons to avoid that. Again, I'm very curious. And also his head movement isn't really there a lot of the time when he does throw. So it's going to be very fascinating. Obviously, he's going to be much taller than Alex Volkanovski here. So for Alex, he'll be throwing higher up. It's going to be... Alex Volkanovski historically fights better against guys that are taller than him, like guys that are around Max Holloway's height, like those taller guys. He feels really comfortable sort of because he's got the length, he keeps him a distance. But when he goes in, he loves throwing all those overhands and hooks and sort of doing those kinds of shot selections. I don't know. It's going to be fascinating to see what we get. But again, like you said, there's just a lot here to prove for Diego Lopez tonight.
Yeah, it's and again, if you're the UFC, you've got this huge fight waiting in the wings right now with Yair Rodriguez winning, with Diego Lopez and Yair Rodriguez. If Lopez is able to do it, if you don't, you know, like I don't know if they're gonna do Movsar next. Like I like it just seems like they're not really into it, and I feel bad because I don't like I'm not a huge fan of Movsar Evloev, but I also don't think that fight with Sterling was boring. I thought it was a very technical match. Like you're just going to get that when you fight guys at a higher level. I remember there's a big knock on Israel Adesanya later, you know, during his title reign where, you know, he's going the distance with Jared Cannonier and some of these other fighters. And it's like, yeah, because they're tough to finish. They're not easy to take out, you know, like even like a Vettori. No one's finished Vettori yet, right? Like these are guys that just when you get to a certain level, like they're not easy to take out. So anyways, we'll see. But yeah, this fight, it's crazy. I love this matchmaking here. This is just so great.
Appreciate the love here from Tom D. Hell yeah, love James Lynch and Submission.
Thank you.
What a combo. Yeah. Make sure, guys, if you're tuning in right now, James Lynch doing a post-fight show after this event, answering your questions. Going to go for about an hour and a half. You can jump on live or you can check it out afterwards. And, of course, make sure to subscribe to his channel. Check out all the great work that comes out from James.
Well, thank you. You as well, man. Like I said, I always send people to my, like, I always send people to your channel, best interviews in the game. And I'll say this on this stream. I've said this many times. It is an absolute travesty in this industry that you never get nominated for Journalist of the Year.
Oh,
no one gets bigger interviews. Like I'm not even kidding. Like you look at the news, it's always a Submission Radio interview that's being cited. There's a bit of a country club going on in this industry. I'll say it right now. And unfortunately, you guys aren't in that. And I think there's so many people like yourself, the Schmo. There's people that get really good content that don't get enough recognition because there is a bit of a country club attitude when it comes to stuff like awards. But every year you guys should be nominated. It drives me nuts, especially I think you're doing some of your best work right now, Dennis. I mean that. It's really, and just to get the coaches now too, like we're trying to find different ways to get good content because a lot of these fighters aren't doing it. You know, the people that get your favorite interviews, they're getting those from the UFC. We're not. We're having a grind. So I have so much more respect for people like you, man. So just keep it up. Just gotta say that.
Thank you. Both ways. So much respect for you, man. And guys, again, make sure to check out all the big stuff that's happening on James's channel. How good are these shorts from Alex Volkanovski here, man?
I love them. Like yeah, they look great.
Competing in the Olympics over here for Australia. I love it, man. And look at the shape that he's in. You just can't. And, you know, he's got the great on the side there. He's got the Aussie, he's got the Aussie flag around the back, and he got some well wishes from the Australian Prime Minister yesterday, which is huge. Obviously, we're going into an election, so they're trying to get a few extra votes. But you know,
when's your election? I didn't know this because you know you guys are kind of similar to us here in Canada as far as like we have a prime minister too. So our election's next month. Actually, I just got my voting card today, so we got the big election coming up. Anyways.
Perfect. Yeah, we got one coming up sort of in the next month and a bit, man. So
Same with
we'll
us.
see what
Okay,
happens.
interesting.
Yeah. So it's
Tail
all
of the tape.
happening.
Volk 36. Sorry to interrupt. 36. Diego Lopez 30. 5'11" for Diego Lopez. 5'6" for Volk. He's used to that though. He's fought taller guys most of his career. 72.5 inch reach to 71. So height and reach, not much of a difference. Just the age and the height. That's it, pretty much. So,
Exactly. And also, one guy knows how to use his reach, and the other one is still trying to figure out his attack.
That's true. Yes.
So it will be interesting to see as well with the leg kicks how that lands. Also interested to see that, Lopez, we're very emotional during the press conference, obviously with the Yair. There's a bit of a background there, but no doubt about it, the emotions being a young fighter like him and being thrown into this moment, into 5 rounds with an Alex Volkanovski, it's very difficult to handle something like that, right, James? We've seen that sort of get into fight.
This reminds me of Yair Rodriguez to a certain degree, and even Yair had more experience going into that first title fight with Volk, and we saw what Volk did to him. He just dominated him that entire fight. So we'll see what Lopez is able to do. There is kind of that blind confidence as well that fighters get where they're, I almost feel like it's been such a rushed year for Lopez. Like, I think he fought Ivoyev, wasn't it? Was it either last year or the year before? But I feel like his rise to stardom has been very quick. So like in some ways there could be some blind confidence working to his advantage where maybe he doesn't even know how big of the situation is. He's just going to go out there and fight like he's fighting Sodiq Yusuff. You never know. We'll see what happens.
And I wonder if, maybe that's the little chance that maybe that's what he needs to do. Maybe he just needs to just go for it and try to be Diego Lopez, because strategically maybe the tools aren't there. It's going to be fascinating to see how his team approaches this. So, but look at this. It's just so great to see Alex Volkanovski back in the fold, right? He's had a bit of a rough run. He's been out of there. He himself has admitted that he thought about retirement. Well, does he return? Does he not return? What's going to happen? But he feels great. He wants his fights to be worth something if he is fighting, and that is the belt. Again, you and me kind of spoke about it a little bit, but does he retire if Diego Lopez goes out there and absolutely starches him in the first round? Does he stick around if the title is no longer an implication for him? I don't know.
I think if Volk gets finished, he retires. Because I don't know where he goes. And here's the thing, like, even if he was to move up, let's say it was like, maybe he's in that spot like Whitaker was in for a while, where it's like, you can't fight the guy that, because Islam's that guy at 155. Like, I don't know. I think Volk, someone made the reference this week on my live stream, like, oh, I hope it doesn't end up being like a Tony Ferguson where he keeps getting knocked out. Volk's not like that. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy that's like, trying to prove something. He's got all the accolades. I think though, if worst case scenario, he gets finished here, I could see him retiring. If he wins, I still don't think he fights that much longer. Like, I think he knows there's a shelf life in this sport. He saw his teammate Israel Adesanya is kind of at that point now too. I think, I think he's going to be smart regardless. He seems like a very intelligent guy in that regard. Yeah,
it seems to me that he mentioned Mosa, so maybe he sees that as a fight potentially next. And then after that, I think he wants to work back to that Ilia Topuria rematch and then maybe retire after that one. Because for people that don't know, he renegotiated his contract. He's getting paid a lot of money per fight. I think he's financially... Yeah, he's in a good spot financially. Yeah, because of all the last-minute fights that he's taken. And I think that Islam Makhachev one really sealed in a crazy deal for him. But he has a ton of sponsorships, the sponsorship with the Under Armour and The Rock. He's got his cooking show. He's got all sorts of deals here in Australia, including a big car company. So, yeah, I think that it's...
I just heard your little one. That's so cool. How's your little one, by the way?
3 years old.
Wow. Oh, so you know what? Your son is the same age as my son. He's 3 as well. I have 2 boys.
No way. I like this three-year-old.
It's the best age because their personality comes out. Anyways, this fight's about to start here. Do have to mention that. One other quick thing I'll say before this fight starts. UFC made one of the worst decisions in promotional history, giving Volk that short notice fight. Imagine if they could have built up that rematch with how close the first fight was. That always annoys me about the UFC. And they were underway.
Here we go, man. Alex Volkanovski admitting he wasn't quite there mentally for the Ilia Topuria fight. Over here, starting the fight out, looking pretty good here, James. Looking like he's trying to control that distance straight away.
Yeah. Lopez always reminds me of that actor Josh Hartnett. Remember him from back in the day?
Yeah. And he's come back.
Got kind of the squinty eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got the haircut.
Yeah. If he was like a hipster, that's what he would look like. Josh Hartnett. Hipster.
So, Alex Volkanovski here is trying to figure out his distance to begin jabbing and kicking here. And Diego Lopez looks like he's trying to find his entry in here.
Yeah.
What are you anticipating from the first round? Do you think this is going to be a feel-out round for both guys?
I think it might be compared to other Lopez fights only because of the 5 rounds. Like, I think that's one thing Lopez has to be a little bit aware of is that, if he doesn't get the quick finish, again, you're fighting one of the best fighters of all time. This isn't Brian Ortega, no offense to Brian or Sodiq Yusuff or, Gavin Tucker, but it's going to be a lot different. Sorry, not Gavin, Pat Sabatini was what I was thinking of. It's not going to be like that. So it's got to be a little bit different of a strategy here for Lopez. Saying that, though, you might want to get this done early on in case this fight goes into deep waters. But yeah, feeling out process so far. The thing I'm curious with Dennis is the speed with Volk. We'll see how it looks.
Well, he just went into the pocket. Did you see that? And
yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Came out, and
Volk's got to be careful about that.
Yeah, very interesting to see. And we've got Alan Cortez. I'm nervous right now for Volk. I think the whole nation is watching that, like you, Alan, with a few nerves here, making sure what kind of Volk we see. Look at this. If you're Diego Lopez here, are you going to be trying to run in before the round's over and sort of try to lay down a few shots, try to build a bit of momentum here? Or are you just happy to sort of feel Volkanovski out and see what he's got to offer you before you start trying to land something massive? Or do you think he's trying to pace himself because he knows this is 5 rounds and something that he hasn't really experienced too much?
Yeah, I'm curious to see. You were definitely not seeing him as like, he's certainly landing his shots, Lopez, but not as maybe as aggressive as we've seen in past fights. But again, I think that shows the level of respect to Volk in this one. But yeah, Volk's looking, he's fine. He's taken some shots already.
Oh, Alex Volkanovski lands a beautiful overhand right there. And it's evident to see that, Lopez, not much head movement, right? When Volk's coming in, that chin is there to be hit. But then again, maybe this is a guy like a Paddy Pimblett who wants to be tested, who doesn't want to move his chin out of the way, who wants to get in the battle and doesn't really care as long as he lands. And maybe that's his game plan. As long as Volk is close enough for me to hit, I don't really mind. Who knows? But yeah, fascinating here from Volk, man. I mean, what do you think of the movement here, though? He does look light on his feet. He's moving in and out. He's looking bulky.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if he can keep this up throughout the fight. And you look at the odds right now; they're dead even. Oh, nice shot there from Volk. Yeah, I'm like a couple seconds behind, but you lead the charge here, my friend.
Well, I was going to say he's come into the pocket a few times. He's landed some big shots, and he's come out. So the question is here: is he starting to try and figure out his groove here inside the pocket? And it looks like the shot is there for him, but it's still dangerous, right? As he comes in for Lopez to be that close to him and be able to land a counter as he comes in. And here we have, both guys, they're still trying to sort of figure stuff out here. I would say, though, that, Volkanovski, he hasn't really been able to establish his jab yet or his low leg kicks, but it looks like his plan is to close that distance, land shots, and here he is. He's clinched up.
Yeah,
Diego
we'll see what he can do here.
Look at this. Diego Lopez, known for his jiu-jitsu.
And now Volk's got him against. He's got to be careful, though. Lopez has a good ground game. Now, one interesting thing, I know Lopez spent a lot of time in Oklahoma training his wrestling there. I forget the name of the wrestler, but he's like a notable wrestling guy who's doing a bit of MMA now. He worked with him for this camp. I know he's in Oklahoma because I follow his manager on social media. And so we'll see if that pays off. Not much. I mean, you're only doing one camp of it, but Volk's, like I said, he's been training for all types of stuff. So,
yeah, this is fascinating stuff. And of course, Craig Jones with Alex Volkanovski, one of the probably like brightest minds when it comes to grappling right now in the sport. No doubt about it. Working through positions and ways.
Oh, look at this. He throws him to the ground. Look at that.
So he's got 10 seconds left here. Diego Lopez.
This is going to be This is going to secure the round for Volk. I'm doing that.
Yep, got to be careful here. But with 4 seconds, James, here we go. First round in the books now for Alex Volkanovski, right? Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Has to be, especially with the way that round ended. Lopez got some shots in, but I don't think that's enough to sway the judges for that round. I think you got to give that round to Volk. 10-9.
So we got West Coast going, drain that gas tank. And no doubt about it, man. If you look at Diego Lopez on that bench, taking a few deep breaths and almost having a bit of a look of not uncertainty, but all right, like I'm in it now and this is real. But we've also got, we've got Volkanovski. I mean, if you're Volkanovski right now in the corner, you're feeling pretty good, right? You got in the pocket, you landed some shots, you got the clinch, you got him down, you're able to win the round. You weren't able to establish your jab, but all your low leg kicks yet, but you were able to get in there and just kind of test this kid and see what he's got. And so far, man, if he continues this, you know, he's going to cruise to a win, right, James? Like this is,
I agree.
This is a pathway to a win here.
Yeah, completely agree.
We've got Dale Morris believing that Lopez wins with a KO. I will say that you got to be careful here. You know, if you're in his full guard, you got to be careful with Lopez. He's still extremely dangerous, but he comes out here and he does already look a little bit battered, James, as we begin round number 2. So here we go, guys. Round number 2. And Lopez looks like he's trying to push the action here a little bit more. I guess his coach has said to him, look, you can't wait for Volkanovski. You got to get in there. You got to start landing. You got to start establishing yourself. As Alex Volkanovski starts throwing a few low leg kicks himself. And I guess this is the part of the game where they're waiting to see what Lopez wants to return with, or if he has anything that he can return with, James.
By the way, betting lines have Alex Volkanovski minus 430 right now. So he's like a 4-1 favorite right now, which is interesting. I mean, I think he won the round, but I wouldn't go that high. But we'll see what Lopez does in this round. This is a key round for Lopez here. He's known for finishing fights early. So, but yeah, all Volk that first round. Good
yeah, a lot of people like our friend Aaron Bronstedt are saying that it looks like a return of old for Volk. And I would say that I'm still not sure if it's the Volk before all the knockouts, but I will say this is a better looking Volk than the Volk we saw with Ilia Topuria. He just does look a little bit lighter on his feet. And you could see he loves being in there, right, James? Like he just loves being in there as he moves forward, lands a few shots on Lopez. It just looks like Lopez has no response for him. Am I right, James? Like he's not quite sure what to do here.
Yeah. I agree. Totally agree with you there.
Lopez was able to land here as Volkanovski closed the distance and moved into the pocket. But outside of that, you know, Volkanovski is quickly establishing that that dangerous outside control that he's done about 1 million times with other opponents. And with, you know, Lopez, potentially some leg kicks, potentially, you know, him trying to enter in different creative ways could be the way to do it. But right now he really is in a boxing stance, isn't he, James? And it's kind of, it's not really enough for him to be able to get into that pocket with Alex Volkanovski as he moves away from a couple of shots from Lopez. It is again, 2 minutes and 59 seconds left in the round. And Lopez is yet to be really able to find any kind of action as Alex Volkanovski tries to shoot in and Lopez stuffs the takedown, and both men are back up on their feet.
Yeah, he's got to be careful there.
I'll tell you now, another round slipping away from Lopez here, 2 minutes and 39 seconds. And you got to wonder what the plan B or C is for him and his team, because it looks like plan A might not be working.
No, I agree. And he's not getting those big shots off. Maybe you do look at the ground. He had a lot of success against Movsar Evloev when he got it to the ground there too. Try and do what Brian Ortega couldn't. And remember, I thought when Ortega had that choke, Dennis, I thought it was over. I think most people are like, okay, that's it. But he gets out of it.
I will say as well, Alex Volkanovski landing a nice jab just before, and this could be the beginning of him establishing that jab, which could be really bad news for Diego Lopez. He tries to move forward and throw a couple of jabs of his own, just a little bit off there. Volkanovski's movement seems pretty good, but he's got to be careful moving back with that chin out, right, James? That's always going to be a dangerous situation. 1 minute and 53 seconds here left in the round.
Yeah, looking good for Volk, though. Let's see what he can do. Like to see a little bit more. You can see a bit of a cut on the bridge in the nose of Diego Lopez, so a little bit of bleeding there.
Ball goes in the pocket.
Nice shot. Oh, big shot there from Volk.
Yeah, stumbles.
And he gets the takedown. Is he gonna successfully get the takedown? We'll see. Oh, good takedown defense there from Lopez.
And the thing is that, you know, if Volkanovski can hold Lopez up against this fence like this and just kind of wrestle him up against this fence and sort of hit him and control him, it's still a round that he's winning, right, James? And also very tiring for Lopez having to defend that. So at the moment, it does look like Volkanovski's trying to establish himself and really start stealing this fight away. His coach said towards the third round, he believes they'll begin drowning Lopez. And it's kind of looks like they're on trend right here. With 1 minute left in the second round.
Yeah, good game plan there from Volk and his team. There's certainly, and there's a bit of a cut on the eyebrow of Volk on his right eye. You'll see the blood trickling down.
I don't like the look of that. It's not going into the eye though.
So no, it's luckily it's just going on the outside. If it was a little bit closer, we'd be in a little bit more dire situation here. So let's see.
We've got 40 seconds left in the second round here, James. And Volkanovski really showing us that after this break, after this great training camp, he is back in the octagon. We don't know to what extent just yet, but so far so good as he goes back into the pocket, lands on Lopez again, gets out unscathed.
Yeah. Oh, nice right there from Volk.
Yeah, and it
nice
looks
jab.
like he's really starting to put his foot on the pedal a little bit here. 20 seconds left. The second round going to Volkanovski, no doubt here. And Lopez just looks a little bit startled, man, as he's able to hit him again with a jab, a beautiful jab. And look at those numbers. Oh, Lopez, what was this?
Yeah.
Was this a trip or was this a stumble?
Oh, Volk got knocked down.
Lopez accelerating at Alex Volkanovski.
That might have been his chance, but Volk seems like he's okay. He was not rocked. Volk was fine there.
Slip?
It looked like a slip. By the way, we have someone in the chat saying that cut might have been a headbutt. I missed that.
Right. And look, that wouldn't surprise me because Diego Lopez, he moves into the clinch with his head down, which is an often reason why people get that. I want to send some love to Dale Morris. How about this? Great live stream, James. Look at that.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it.
We appreciate it. All the love goes a long way. Of course, we do this in our spare time. And again, James, I appreciate you joining me, man.
Of course. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else, man. It's all good. Other than maybe in the arena, if I had someone pay for it, I'd be fine. But no, I would have missed coaching today. I coached my kids' hockey team. I would have missed that. So I was happy to be here today. It's fine.
Perfect. And as we will look at the replays here,
So I want to see if there was a slip. I want to see the Volk where he fell down. I want to see that replay.
Yeah, he hit him good here. So he did knock Volk down. It was a one.
It was a left. Volk looked stunned for a sec, but did get his composure. So he's got to be careful.
Beautiful too. So let's see what kind of Volkanovski we get coming out in this third round if he's fully recovered. I will also say though that this man is up 2 rounds, right, James? It's 2-1.
Yeah.
It's 2-0 so far in this fight as we go into round 3.
Yeah, he's got to be 2-0. Even with that knockdown, he's still got to be up.
So everybody who just tuned in, Diego Lopez was able to sort of knock Alex Volkanovski down towards the end of the second round, although Volkanovski had a very dominant round and still won that round. We are about to see what kind of damage, if any of that damage is still lingering in round 3 for Alex Volkanovski, or if Lopez, James, can build any kind of momentum of that little moment that he had. And potentially,
it's got to be early. It's got to be early, I think. I think the longer this goes and Lopez isn't able to get something similar to what he had at the end of that second, I think that favors Volk. I think you got to capitalize on what you got Volk at. Kind of let him know, like, look, I'm still here. So
it looks like Alex Volkanovski is back to business. He's controlling the distance yet again. Jabbing,
only takes one shot, though. Only takes one shot, like we saw at Taporia. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's looking good for Volk now, but yeah, you got to be careful. As Lopez, again, with that uppercut, that's something to keep in mind, guys. Lopez has been firing that uppercut. If he does land, that could be one that puts him out. We'll see. And Lopez good everywhere.
He is just so durable. And that is one thing that makes him dangerous. He is just so durable. He doesn't mind taking shots as he's moving forward. He's sticking out his jab. It looks like he's starting to find shots here and there. But again, Volkanovski able to stay out of distance for most of those shots, landing a couple of low leg kicks. I imagine he's going to start using those kicks as well to try and dismantle Lopez as we go on in this round. But I will say, man, it looks like Lopez is finding some momentum here, probably more momentum than he's had in the majority of the fight outside of the end of that second round, James. And it looks like he is able to close the distance here just a little bit, just to threaten a little bit. And it's probably a better spot than we thought he would be in, judging what happened in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, completely agree. Volk always has good game plans too. He's really sticking to what he's doing, picking his shots, not getting too dangerous here, not getting into a dogfight or anything along those lines. He's just intelligently picking his spots with Diego Lopez.
And obviously so much on the line here. We know Yair is hoping probably Lopez wins, but if Alex Volkanovski is able to do it, how great for the UFC to be able to have someone with his name value with a belt and be able to use him, in one of the last pay-per-view markets out there in Australia.
Oh, nice left from Volk there. By the way, they still could do Rodriguez and Lopez. They could still do it. Right. I mean, Yair's only got one fight. I mean, I don't put it past the UFC making that fight as well. But again, still got lots of fight left. He's still got 2.5 more rounds. So
we got Lopez here. He's trying to stalk Volkanovski. He tried to cut off the ring. He tried to move forward. And Volkanovski is able to get out of the danger. He's able to reset. As Lopez looks like he's turning up the heat here, James. He's trying to move forward. He's trying to land. He's trying to win.
Well, this is his round to do it. Like I said, you get into 4 and 5. This is usually where Lopez slows down. So. And maybe that's why he didn't go as hard to begin the fight.
So far, not much success for Lopez, but this is what you want to be seeing from him. This is what you want to see him doing. It looks like Alex Volkanovski is very, very hesitant to make the wrong mistakes and is sticking to his game plan, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I will say we've got 1:40 left in this round, and it is fascinating to think about who might have won this round, you know? There's
Yeah,
been a couple of
this round
moments
much
from
closer.
Lopez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Lopez trying to get into that pocket. And man, Volkanovski really putting those 2-3-2 combinations beautifully together. Now he tries to shoot again, but Lopez stuffs the shot.
Yeah.
Bit of a stalemate here, James.
I agree. Yeah, this is definitely the closest round by far. So we'll see. This might even end up being a Lopez round. We got about a minute left. We're getting down. I got 1:10 on my screen. I think you're probably 7 if I had to guess. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Let's see what they can do here. Like I said, a takedown or any sort of big shot. That's what the judges are going to be looking for here, right? So
yeah, this is if you're in Lopez's corner right now, you're seeing signs of life though, right, James? Like you're at least like, all right, third round, potentially maybe we could have gotten that one. 2 more rounds to go. We're still in this. When you go back to the when Lopez goes back to the corner here, he's probably going to be much happier than when he went back at the end of round 1, right?
Easily. Oh yeah. Yeah. You got to take that. But he's going to know better than anyone. Can he go these extra 2 rounds? It's not looking too slow right now, but we'll see as we get into 4 and 5. Because again, to my knowledge, I don't think Lopez has had a 5-round fight. Oh,
Alex
nice right there.
Lands a couple of shots. Lopez goes moves forward on Alex Volkanovski, trying to suck him into a bit of a battle, a little bit of a Max Holloway towards the end of the round when he points down to the octagon. But Alex Volkanovski not taking the bait, resetting. He's dotting his I's, crossing his T's. Who won that round? Let us know in the comments
I think Lopez, but it was close. This might be the tough one for the judges to figure out.
Beautiful replays that they now have.
I know. This is like cinematic. This is like NFL films right here. This looks good.
I will say, though, if we scored the first 2 rounds to Volk, in another world, I mean, there might be people out there scoring this one to Lopez, and I probably, I could understand their argument here. Lopez really did kind of steal this round in a lot of ways. What do you think, James?
Yeah. I think he might have. I'm curious to see what social media is saying right now. But I could see a world where Lopez won that round for sure.
We're about to go.
Although I'm seeing people having Volk winning that round, so that's interesting. I mean, close round.
I always find it hard to score the rounds as well when you do the live watch along because you're kind of reacting to it live. But it's like when you watch the fights live in the arena, right? Like it's so hard to be there live and score correctly. Everyone's clapping. We're about to go into round 4 for Diego Lopez. Hey, man, more power to you. You're in there with one of the GOATs, one of the best to ever do it. You've survived 3 rounds. You potentially won the 3rd round. You're going into this 4th round, potentially with some momentum on your back, James. Not a terrible place for Lopez to be right now.
Oh, yeah. No, he's looked good. I mean, there was some thought maybe he'd get overwhelmed. Maybe, but that 3rd round really brought some life back to this fight.
So here we go. Lopez is trying to close the distance. He's trying to lure Volkanovski into a bit of a battle here. He wants to get Volkanovski to throw in the pocket so he could counter him. And he just wants that battle because he knows he's durable. He loves being in those battles. Right now, though, Volkanovski is working off the back of his jab. He's using his leg kicks. He's not really giving Lopez what he's looking for, James.
No. And we'll see if Volk, if he tries any more takedowns, hasn't been successful the last couple. You do that again, that looks good. But especially if he notices Lopez is getting tired, that might be the time to capitalize on a takedown. Although right now they're just standing and trading right now.
Yeah, and Volkanovski's landing, man, and they might not be the hardest shots, but a 1-2 before that, a lack of head movement from Diego Lopez because he's so durable. He loves being in his battles. It's kind of costing him on the scorecards a little bit. And Volkanovski just taking advantage of that jab, the kick, reset, the jab, the kick in the pocket. But then there we go. He tries to shoot in. And then he resets.
I think Lopez is also having a bit of a difficult time with the fact that Volk's so much shorter. I think he's sort of used to fighting guys that are more his height. And Volk's so good at that because he's fast too. He can get in and out of there. And I think that's also part of the reason why Lopez maybe went a bit slower, just to get his timing down and figure out how am I going to hit this guy. I'd be curious to know who Lopez trained with this camp, like in terms of you might want to work with, I'm sure he did work with smaller guys, but that would certainly help him trying to hit the target.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Volkanovski loves fighting guys that are a little bit taller than him. It just gives him the shots that he loves. He works in the pocket really well against them. We've seen it time and time with guys like Max Holloway and other guys like Brian Ortega. And here we are again. It's interesting though, man. We've got 3 minutes left in the fourth round. If you're tuning in right now, it looks like another Alex Volkanovski round as he tries to shoot it for a takedown. It gets stuffed, but he's still able to score.
Volkanovski minus 270 on the betting lines, plus 200 for Diego Lopez. I believe going into the fight, odds were just slight favor of Volkanovski. So obviously the betting people are feeling like Volka's ahead. I think most of us feel the same way. So.
And I will say here, though, man, now we're going into this fourth round. I have to say, Volka's looking great. He's looking quick. Yep. His reaction times are great. He's sticking to his game plan. He's able to systematically sort of dismantle Lopez here. And even though Lopez is showing a lot of heart and he's still obviously in it, he hasn't really shown us too many moments outside of the one where he knocked down Volkanovski and kind of landed a few shots here and there as he moves forward and Volkanovski counters him again.
Oh, nice. Oh, I poke. I think Volk got poked in the eye.
Yeah,
his eyes squinting, but it was just one of those ones where I think it was grazed. So something to keep an eye. Yeah, hold on.
Wow, and man, off that eye poke, it looks like Volkanovski is struggling to see Lopez coming in. His vision might be impaired. He's not quite 100% sure. He's trying to reset.
It was a weird one because he kind of hit him like it wasn't like an official poke, but I think Lopez knows he can't see, so he's trying to take advantage. If there's any time for Lopez to capitalize, it's right now. But Volk's hanging in there. He's throwing shots. I think Volk's okay now, but Volk is backing up a lot. He's got to be careful here.
Dude, I will say, though, Lopez is trying to capitalize on the moment. He's pushing the action. Volkanovski is seemingly right now okay, seemingly trying to get back.
Yeah, his eye looks better now, but it definitely hurt him for a second there. That was maybe the moment that Lopez might look back on and be like, man, that was my opportunity.
That was the chance. He wasn't able to land anything too significant after that, but I'd love to see if that was an eye poke or what happened, maybe a knuckle to the eye. That eye is bleeding for Volko, but the good thing is that it is going underneath the eye, not into the eye, so the other eye seems to be okay, but that eye poked eye, going to be interesting to see what kind of damage there is there. Nothing worse than an eye poke in MMA. As we've got 1 minute left here in this round, what are you feeling right now in terms of who won it? I feel like Volkanovski was able to control it for the majority of it, but we just saw Lopez push forward and try to sort of capitalize.
I still think Volk's ahead. Yeah, I think Lopez did the most significant, obviously combo in that round, but I think Volk landed more overall. We'll see though. It depends how it finishes. That's another thing that influences judges sometimes. So if Lopez is able to do something big here at the end, like a 1-2 or land any sort of significant strike here, it'll definitely favor it in. So we got 30 seconds left. Let's see who takes it. If I'm Volk, I'm being very cautious here because Lopez could explode. Yeah, nice right there from Volk. I think that missed though.
And look at the breakdown by significant strikes. You just look at that round by round.
Yeah, wow, I didn't realize it was that much. Nice right there for Volk. Apparently he poked him. Lopez is cool though. Yeah, it's 26-14 in this round.
Lopez going forward, trying to land. Volk getting out of there.
Yeah, I think he just dodged that. That's fine.
Another round to Volk.
Yeah, Volk got that. So, yeah, Lopez needs to finish, I think.
So the eye thing, it looks like his knuckle grazed Volk's eye as he came across with the shot. Let's have a look at it again.
Yeah, you can see it there. Ugh.
Yeah, grazed it sort of with the corner of the glove. Mm-hmm. When you bend that glove over, it's kind of got this little edge area there as well. And it sometimes has that thing on the side there what people don't realize is it can kind of glance off a little. As we look at some of the replays here, my man, how impressed are you with Alex Volkanovski being able to stick to this game plan, get out of danger, reset over and over and over and over and over, and basically be so on point for this fight?
We got one round left, but I will say I'm not surprised. We're talking about one of the most intelligent fighters to ever grace the octagon. This is a guy who, just when you think he's not flashy, I think he'd get more recognition if he was more of a flashy fighter, but he's just not. He's just a smart lunch pail type fighter that can just go in there and come up with a good game plan. And you're seeing that on full display here tonight against a very dangerous opponent in Diego Lopez. Lopez, he's picked his shots. Volk hasn't been in that much danger though, really, at all. And Volk's just doing what he does. This is kind of looking a little bit, not to the same extent, but it's kind of looking like Holloway Volk 3, right? Volk starts to take over a bit. Lopez is still in there, but fifth round, let's see what Diego can do. I'll give him full marks. His cardio does not look like any sort of an issue here tonight.
That's right. He stepped up here. He's trying to take advantage of the situation as he pushes forward on Alex Volkanovski. And look, like you said, there's one round left. So there's still a lot of time for Lopez to potentially land something. But what I will say is I love how good Volkanovski has looked every time Lopez has landed any kind of shot. He looks durable. He looks like he can take the shots. Well. And it's exactly what you're hoping to see from someone that's been stopped a couple of times, right, James? It looks like his chin has fully recovered. From what we've seen so far, Lopez has tried to hit him and has landed a couple of shots, and there he is, still in there doing his thing. So all points and grading towards Volkanovski as he is again establishing his jab, distance, and looks like he's going to try and cruise this round out to a dominant decision victory.
Yeah, and I think Volk's just too smart here. Not to play into the game of Lopez as Lopez throws a kick here. He's trying everything. I don't blame Lopez for going for broke. Volk's got to be careful here, but he's so smart, Dennis. Like especially when it comes to defense and just head movement, all that stuff. But credit to Diego Lopez. Like he's still in this fight. Like it's not. This isn't Yair and Volk. This is Lopez is right up there. He certainly proved that tonight, regardless of how this ends.
Yeah, and I think he comes out as we got 3 minutes 27 seconds on my clock left. He comes out of this fight showing everybody that he's got potential, right, James? Like this is a guy that's been in the UFC for a very, very short period of time. I don't think he loses too many points by the fact that he went in there, tried his best, was able to kind of hang in there for these 5 rounds. And the question goes out: what would a Lopez look like with a little bit more time in the octagon, a little bit more time preparation-wise, and maybe this makes him a better fighter as a result of it, being able to be in there with someone like a Volkanovski and experience this, and know that he can hang in there for the 5 rounds at least,
Yeah, I agree.
2 minutes and 53 seconds here, and Volkanovski's just being Volkanovski, right, James?
Yeah, he certainly is. Picking those shots, moving well out of the range of Lopez, and, just kind of sneaking in, but not making it dirty. Thing with Volk is he's so fast too. And look, now he goes for a takedown. Stuffed. Nice knee though. Looks like he got poked in the eye.
Yeah, was it the eye or the throat? Something's going on there with Lopez as he took a minute's break. And it's just interesting as well with Volkanovski tying in those takedowns, kind of almost keeping Lopez off beat because he doesn't quite know what's coming at him next. Is it going to be the jab, the low leg kick? Is he coming in to punch him? He's coming in to taking him down. A lot of feints, a lot of ways that he's covering up his attacks here, James. And yeah, he's looking good here. Yeah.
Yeah. Volk's just got to keep doing what he's doing. And the thing is too, like typically in fights like this where, it is, Volk's ahead, but not by like a ton. It's not boring either. He's still making it exciting and he knows the danger that's right in front of him. A guy that can certainly put you out. And here's Volk still making it, an interesting fight here. Right. So.
Yeah, we got 1 minute and 42 seconds left until Volkanovski makes history here, man, and is able to regain his belt in the division.
Luke Thomas's stats out the win. No, wasn't it? Yeah, isn't it under 55? They don't win belts, so we'll see. Still a minute left. We got a
minute and 27 seconds here as Diego Lopez moves forward on Alex Volkanovski. And you're right, James. What is good about this for Lopez is he was able to survive the 5 rounds. He's still attacking. He's still trying to make something happen here as we approach a minute and 15-second mark, throws a leg kick. Alex Volkanovski blocks it. He just keeps resetting, creating the distance. And like you said, man, just a mad scientist in that MMA, potentially one of the highest fight IQs outside of GSP and a few notable others out there for Alex Volkanovski. Just amazing stuff here.
And it's like, I don't think Volk will ever get the due that maybe he should have when we look back on history. Like he's so good, man. Like and it kind of, it kind of just came out of nowhere, like in terms of him. Like I remember when he beat Holloway the first time, he was an underdog, and like he continues to just get it done. Just one of the most consistent lunch pail fighters you'll find. I like using that term, but he's so much more than that too, because he's one of the best ever to ever grace the octagon. So and again, 35 seconds, anything can happen here, but let's see what's going on. Look at Lopez now. He's doing the dog thing or whatever, flexing. And Volk, he almost threw him to the ground there. Volk's looking at the clock, so he knows. 23 seconds. Don't screw this up.
Jeez, here we go. Clock's winding down. We got almost 10 seconds here. Volkanovski is not going to step in the middle of the octagon. He's not going to swing with
Lopez can't hit him
as much as he wants. And
no, too smart.
Towards the end, Lopez sort of trying to get into a little bit of a battle, but it's too
good
late.
Performance there from Volk. What a performance.
What an
Take a bow.
People asking, is this going to be the old Volkanovski? And I think, man, we have to give him his props, right? We've got to give him his flowers. I think this is a return of Alex Volkanovski of old. What do you think? What do you think about the Alex Volkanovski we just saw?
I don't think he really left. I think, listen, he fought possibly a better fighter. I mean, he is the better fighter because he beat him in Ilia Topuria, but he's right up there. The thing that people forget, he's lost one fight at featherweight. That's it. He lost at lightweight to Islam, right? Like, that's a little bit different. So for him to, go out there and fight a really dangerous guy who didn't have a whole lot to lose, like Lopez, he's most likely losing this and should lose this, in my opinion, on the judges' scorecards. He's still dangerous. He's still a great fighter. And for him to go in there and fight a guy who really had nothing to lose, Volk had everything to lose here. He loses this fight. Imagine the narrative changes. 3 losses in a row, all this stuff. And, for him to go out there and do this, super impressive. This might be one of his best wins just in terms of the optics going in, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you something, man. It's interesting what happens here for Lopez. I mean, he's coming off this loss, but at the same time, he was still able to hang in there. I wonder if he's in a position for potentially the UFC to still make this Yair fight in Mexico.
They have to make it. I'm going to say this right now. They have to make that fight. It still makes sense. You don't have to do wins and losses all the time. Do the big fight. I don't want to see him fight Arnold Allen or someone. Let's do the big fight. Let's do him and Rodriguez.
Dude, chuck him on the co-main. Beautiful stuff. And whoever wins that fight who knows, man? Yair wins that fight. Boom. Maybe that does get him to the title shot. We got Shannon Bailey Volk Championship. We got Andrew McCarthy. Nicely done, boys. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Thanks for watching. We got Alan Cortez, the new 2-time champ. Great. Dude, it's all happening out here. Alex Volkanovski regaining this belt. This is quite a big piece of history here.
It is. I agree.
In Miami. What do you think, James? We're seeing something special here.
Yeah.
And by the way, not many people are able to come back after a couple of losses like that and then have such an impressive win and be able to sort of finish out their career in a way that they want to. Not to say that Alex Volkanovski is going to be finishing right now. We've probably got him, like you said, for a couple of more fights, but this really helps the legacy, don't you think, James? Finishing out this fight and taking a chance on yourself, being able to show everybody, hey, this is really what I'm like. This is what I can do.
You read the decisions, you're a little bit ahead of me. 28, 27, 48. 49, 46. There's no way they can screw this up, right? No.
Here we go.
Oh, because they have to say new, because it's a vacant title, right?
There we go. Alex Volkanovski.
Yeah, they got it right. Yeah, there we go. Good for Volk, man. Good for Volk.
And you just got to give it to him. He's in there.
And look, he's emotional. I don't blame him, man. Think of all the people who said he's done. You can't do it. It's inspiring stuff, man. All of you should be watching this. You fall down, you get knocked out twice, big deal. You can come back. Trump's there, Elon Musk, they're all happy.
That's right. Joe Rogan with the microphone. Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah.
How good does this feel? He asks him.
Oh, man.
He's happy to be back, man. We got Izzy in the crowd. Friend, teammate. He promised his girls he was going to bring the belt back to him.
I feel that as a parent. It's so good. Yeah. I never won a belt, but I feel it.
Let's talk about the curse, beating this curse. Beating someone like Diego Lopez. Adversity is a privilege. What about that quote for you, James? Me trying to reset the internet for our live stream today.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that was our adversity today.
Says he loves everyone. Yep. That's the new t-shirt for Engage, I bet. Coming back from the 2 knockout losses, Volkanovski says it's an opportunity for him. Yeah, you can break records. This is very inspiring stuff here, James. Honestly, like what he's been able to achieve in his career is so inspiring, but this really just puts a cherry on top of the cake. Looks like the Alexander Revolt is what Joe Rogan says is they finish up the speech. And let's see what he has to say. And he wants to do another podcast. And,
Good.
That's the thing as he goes to shake, Diego Lopez's hand, and I think he hit the nail on the head. Coming back against a guy like Diego Lopez is a perfect matchup for Alex Volkanovski to show if he's back or not, because you got a young, hungry fighter like a Lopez, and he's shown that he is. But I was going to say one of the reasons why, they didn't ask about who's next is because I guess the UFC isn't 100% sure, would you say? Like, usually they feed it into Joe's ear in this post-fight press conferences, ask him about who's next, who do they want next. I'm guessing, with the division constantly changing, they're not 100% sure, right, James?
No.
Like, otherwise,
No.
Mosa maybe would be more in a part of it. I guess we'll see in the media scrum afterwards. But at the moment, things up in the air a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we got Diego Lopez here.
Yeah.
And look at his face as we wait for the translator, Fabio, to sort of break it down. That eye is completely swollen shut. And he shouts out everyone in Brazil. Thanks, Mexico.
You ever get to hang out with Fabio, the translator?
Yeah, we had a few drinks in Sydney. He's
the best. Character. He's so cool. I got to watch the Four Nations game with him when we were in Seattle. He's a really, really cool guy.
He's
big hockey fan, actually.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the perfect translator, in my opinion. And by the way, with Diego Lopez, as he waits for the translator, his English is actually really good. When I interview him, he speaks English really well, but for some reason, he's a little bit insecure about it and would prefer to speak in another language. But I actually think his English is really good, and I think he should look at speaking English more and
big time
listen to translator stuff, because it really hurts the fighters when it comes to cut through. And
couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's one of the reasons that you see certain fighters are more popular, because they can't speak English. So definitely helps.
Yeah, he's just talking about the fact that he's bright in the sport. It's just a start for him. He'll be back. He'll be a champion. There's no doubt about the fact that he can be, James. Like, look at Yair, on another run and potentially back in motion. And he just thanks Miami here. So basically, it's what you and me said, James.
Yeah.
I think him and Yair is a lock for if they can get both healthy. If he's ready to go for that Mexican card, I think that's a perfect fight to get either guy back in the mix. I think he showed everybody that he was able to hang in there with Alex Volkanovski for 5 rounds and survive, which was very admirable. He was able to have a couple of moments of success, and also he was able to be in there with Alex Volkanovski and maybe become better by the fact that he's in there with one of the GOATs of all time in featherweight. As we wrap this up, I know you're about to do the post show and you're going to give your thoughts. What is some of your final closing thoughts as we saw Alex Volkanovski make history and regain this title?
Well, I just think it shows that, he is one of the best. It's one thing to, have a great career. It's another thing to maintain that. And Volk has shown tonight that he was able to do that. And this is why he will go down as one of the, not just best featherweights of all time, one of the best fighters of all time, to be able to come back and perform well at such a high level. You think of all the greats. I mean, usually it doesn't end well. You look at like an Anderson Silva, he had a losing streak towards the end of his career. You had, GSP played it smart. GSP is probably the closest to Volk in terms of playing it smart, not sticking around. I still think if GSP sticks around at 85, it's probably not going to end the way it ended for him against Michael Bisping. So I think it's just a credit to, again, IQ. I think it really comes down to that. He's a smart fighter, and we're seeing that pay dividends for him throughout his career.
All right, man. Well, this has been us, me and James Lynch. Go to James Lynch's channel now and check out his post-fight show Q&A. You can ask him any questions you want. Make sure to follow them. And again, James, congratulations on another incredible job. Thank you for joining me. This has been so much fun. Hopefully one of many. And thank you to everybody in the comment section jumping on and keeping us company. Sorry about my internet cutting out, but James, you did such a good job of running the show.
You got my Bryce Mitchell reaction. You can go back and watch it. I was freaking out.
Perfect. I can't wait to see that. And again, man, thank you so much. And thank you for everybody for joining in.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And just quickly, go support Dennis. Go support hardworking journalism out there. We need our independent media people. If there's one thing you can take away from tonight, support the little guys or the big guys, whatever you want to call us. We're still here. We've been doing this for a while, so go support the great work that Dennis is doing and watch his interviews.
That's right, James. You are my fire, my one desire. And when it comes to MMA stream, I want it that way. Thank you so much, guys.
See you guys.